Just keep it real. Big John Steel. Tell me how you feel. Convince me where the top go. Just keep it real. Big John Steel. Tell me how
What's
you
up?
feel.
What's up? What's up?
Convince me where the top go. Jesus is king. Big John
Yes, sir.
Steel. Jesus is king.
Yes, sir.
Steel. Bro, you don't make any sense. Slow down a second, it's making you tense. When I be talking, just don't interrupt. I say the truth, you get salty for what? Give me an argument, not an assertion.
What's
I'm
up,
almost convinced that
folks?
you're not a real person.
How is
Why are you
everybody
telling
doing?
me
I hope
what it
everybody
is?
is having
Topic, you flop like
having a
fish.
good day.
Say
One
what
thing
you
I
mean
just
and while being
noticed,
concise. Still got my taco, I ain't leaving Christ.
them
If the
emojis,
religion get wrecked by a Christian, I think you might have a special
pretty
condition.
small.
I debate all of you Muslim and atheists,
Pretty small.
witches and wizards and new ages. I
We might
roll
have to
Jesus,
fix
just don't
that.
get defeated. You won't
Why
change
am I
my
not
mind
center?
even if you repeat it. Just keep it real.
Shuffle a little bit. Now I don't feel right. Convince me when a taco.
Keep it real.
Shout out to Walk with the Spirit for making this song.
Convince me when the top go. Jesus is king.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
Jesus is king.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Give me some logic, I just wanna know why you so toxic, bro. I'm on a roll. You wanna troll me, I'm shutting you down. I be too busy to suffer a clown. Say that you hold a position, defend it. Linda, I know you don't listen, let's end it. It's your own fault that you're stuck in your state. I just move on if you come in bad faith. Don't say that I mean, I say what I mean. I'm showing love, pull you away from the thief. You run away, you afraid or you weak. Bro, I don't play, I can make them retreat. You choose a deceit, ain't making me nervous. For those that I reach, I've been living my purpose. This ain't at all about the money. Money. Trying to lift up the soul of this dumb is real. Tell me how you feel.
Convince me when a taco.
Just keep it real. Tell me how you feel.
This is so good.
Convince me when a taco. Jesus is king. Big John Steel. Jesus is king. Big John Steel.
It's so weird though, hearing a song that says your name and then jamming out to it. It feels a bit egotistical, but it's so dope. It's so dope. It's so good. It's so good. Let's do what we always forget to do before we start. Give me that. Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for this live. I ask that you guide this live. We put it into your hands so you could do with it as you will. Allow your Holy Spirit to move through us, to guide us, and to make sure that we do and say the right things that are good and edifying in your eyes. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit. Holy cow, man. Holy cow. John dancing to himself. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right. Today's topic, we decided to switch it up. I didn't want to do abortion today. It makes me sad. New age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. That's today's topic. New age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. If you want to join, you can join at tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10. Password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the password today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if any of you guys know what that actually means, let's see how many Americans know. How many Americans actually know? Curious. Has switching up my schedule helped with my insomnia? I didn't have insomnia. I had sleep apnea. But yes, doing days has had a drastic improvement on my mental health. Big time. Even though I think we could get like more viewers in the night, right? I think we could do that. I don't think it's worth my life, my mental health, and my relationships, because I was getting grumpy and stuff like this. So I think it's much better to do the days. And if anybody wants to watch it at night, they can always watch it back later. I know it's not the same, but for anybody who's watching later, hello, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you haven't, why haven't you left a comment yet? You can't do the chat, but you could do a comment. We also found out, guys, once lives end, I'll remind you later. Apparently you got to leave a comment right away, and that's really going to boost it in the algorithm. So we'll talk about that later. I do think we have a guest. We'll find out. Let me just bring them in. Nope. No, we did not.
Oh.
They came, they went.
They came, they saw, they left.
They came, they saw,
they left. Do you
want
me to start the shorts?
Yes. Start the shorts. Let's open the floodgates to the heathens. That's where the heathens
Come
come
on
from.
in.
Come on in, mother. That was so good. Who here has seen Sinners? Who here has seen Sinners? I really enjoyed Sinners. I really thought
I
it was a
hated it, but I loved that part.
yeah, yeah. I made Abby watch it, and I really shouldn't have, and I knew better. But I thought we could get past it. I just covered her eyes during the scary part. That was not a good idea by any means. Guys, if you haven't yet, you should be smashing the like button, sharing the live. Once again, to join is tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10, password 12345. Today's topic is New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. What else was I going to say? That's it. I don't watch TV much these days. Not many of us do. None of us are watching movies anymore. What? I love movies. I feel the movie was overrated, to be honest. 7.5 out of 10. Ban Eric from the chat. Ban Eric from the chat. He's not allowed to be here anymore. Get rid of him. Michael B. Jordan is a top tier actor. Amen. Amen. Hallelujah. Should I see Sinners? That depends. Depends on your predisposition towards like gore and horror. If you're one of those Christians that don't think that you should watch that, then no, don't go watch that. But if you're okay with like, it's not really gory, it's somewhat gory and horror, then yes, it's a phenomenal movie. It's definitely a leftist movie. It's got a lot of leftist ideals in there, but that's fine. It's still good content. Just keep it real. Win a taco. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 22.
Bro came in with that deep, quiet voice. All right, hold on. Let me turn you up a bit. All right, man. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
Yeah. So when you mean New Age spirituality, is it just like uh kind of like a therapeutical understanding of the self? Like, because as we see, like with progressivism, right? We kind of have like
So just real quick, is it hard for you guys to hear him, or is that just me?
Oh wait, hold on. Let me take. Is it better?
It's about the same for me, but I can make you out well enough. I just gotta.
Sorry, I'm gonna speak up. So I would say first, I don't know if my definition is maybe the same as yours, but what's it called? I see New Age spiritualism as a form of atheism and secularism and progressivism all into
Yeah.
one. So it
Yeah,
would be like
pretty much.
not following not like it's rooted in atheism. There's not a belief in intelligent design, and it goes with evolution. It's like that's what the main grasping of understanding what we are as human beings. Where do we come from? Somehow the planets came together, which there's evidence for, and then there's evidence for evolution. So then we have this base stand on. We have the ability to have anthropology, because all of this is rooted within like an international educational system. Like all colleges, they all do research. The whole PhD system.
So hold on. What's your argument, bro?
I'm saying that New Age spirituality has the ability to have secularism and a stable, broad statement on how we see the world rather than through religion.
Are you defending New Age spirituality? I can't tell.
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with you.
Okay. So how's that an argument?
So I'm saying that I'm making the point that New Age spiritualism with educationalism, intellectualism is makes more sense than with religion.
How? That's not an argument, that's a claim.
Well, because I'm saying because it's rooted in more evidence.
What's the evidence for anything that's New Age spiritual? Like manifesting or like tarot
It's
cards
because
or
the
crystals
stability
or
well, I would go with the New Age spiritualism. The way I define it is based off of science and cognitive science and understanding the self and like
how is that New Age spirituality?
psychology. Maybe my definition is different from yours. I'd like to hear.
Well, it just sounds like you're saying atheism.
Okay, but you can reach a spiritual sense off of it. I'm saying that I'm talking
How?
about the lower.
What do you mean by a spiritual sense then?
So so you may not be introduced to it, but the side of spiritualism that comes from like an analytical psychological sense. So we have the conscious, the subconscious, and like the collective conscious, and spirituality is a form of meditation as a point to improve your life because
What do you mean by any of these words? What is spirituality in this sense, in this context? What is it exactly?
it's a connection between your conscious and your subconscious.
It's a connection between so I already have a connection between my
Yeah.
conscious and subconscious.
I know, but you have a sense of morality, you know, and you have a sense of idea with whether or not we were created divinely intelligent or are we evolved. What does your brain rely on? Is your knowledge of who you are existing on this earth? Where does it stem from? Does it stem from intelligent life? Does it stem from evolution? Do you have a sense of where the afterlife is? What is everything you think metaphysically? Where is it rooted from? That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't know why you're using like a soundboard, but
Because you said a lot of words and I still don't know what you said.
Nobody knows what you said.
I'm saying what do you know understand what metaphysics is?
Yeah, metaphysics, the study of reality. What is real?
Okay, so but it's also what cannot be proven real. So, for example, consciousness is a metaphysical term. Can you look and touch consciousness? No, you can't. So
Well,
I'm
that
saying,
depends. If you're a materialist, you'd say consciousness is just an outcome of the brain.
okay, and I'm saying the when you follow a religion, your understanding of consciousness is different. Do you can you agree with that? That
No.
religion has a different because you guys think of the soul.
I'm
and
still
that
trying to
book
figure out
God-
what you mean by
and
spirituality.
we were made, and I'm saying you're a Christian, so I'm trying to debate your point.
My point is New Age spirituality is pretty whack, and you were still trying to
Okay,
figure out
I'm
what you mean by
trying to-
spirituality.
I'm trying to listen. I don't know. Maybe like you don't understand what I'm trying to get at, but I'm trying to pull what metaphysically you understand about your consciousness. Where I'm saying that the point from New Age spirituality makes more sense because there's evidence to claim who we are as people metaphysically.
What does that have to do with spirituality?
It's because I'm saying that your belief in what it is to be conscious is flawed because there's less evidence to prove it. Because
Again, what does that have to do with spirituality? Even if what you said right there is true, which I disagree, but let's say it
Because
is true. What's that have
I'm
to do with
saying
New Age
my-
spirituality?
Because I'm saying my version of New Age spirituality.
What is your new version of spirituality? What is
I
it?
just explained it, bro. I just explained the belief, the stable.
You said it's the
belief.
conscious. You said it's the connection between the conscious and the subconscious. I already have a connection between the subconscious and the conscious without having to engage in New Age
I'm saying, but
spirituality.
what is it rooted? What is it rooted from? Where is that? Where is your connection rooted from?
It's just rooted from my ontological properties. When I go to sleep, I have a dream.
And what do you attribute it to? What is it? What does it stem from? Where's your ontological property stemmed from?
I believe all things come from God.
Okay, and I'm saying you stem it from God. I'm saying there's one thing to say what do you believe, but it's also what, because these things can interlap. What do you think stemmed your consciousness?
But again, what does this have to do with New Age spirituality?
I'm saying that what stemmed consciousness and New Age spirituality makes more sense because there's evidence to back it.
But
with
you're not
the
even
base-
telling me what makes sense. You're saying it makes sense. What makes sense? What? like you're saying flip-flop makes more sense than Christianity. And I ask you, what is flip-flop? And you say, but flip-flop is the basis of how things make more sense metaphysically than Christianity.
So you don't think that secularism you can't think you bring there's a scientific consensus at the end of the day, whether you believe in psychology, whether you believe you major in anthropology, there's all a consensus of what it is to be
On what? A consensus on what?
a human being, on what it is to be on planet Earth and understand our existence in the first place.
What's the okay? Show me the scientific consensus on what it is to be a human being. Go ahead.
Okay, that we have evolved from primates, and that based off sociological and psychological factors, you cognitively stabilize yourself to become an adult conscious human being.
Again, what does any of this have to do with New Age?
You know what you're doing? You're saying, what does this have to do with this? And I tell you,
But you're not even telling. You're just explaining. You're just
You're
explaining.
not even smart enough to bring it back to the.
Okay, hold on.
argument.
Fair enough.
You're saying,
I'm
what
not.
does this
Okay.
have to do with this?
Okay. I'm not smart
What are you
enough.
talking about? You
Hold
can't
on,
debate, man.
hold on, bro. I'm not smart enough. Fine. Then you should be smart enough to explain it so simply
I'm
that even.
explaining it, and you're not
Hold
smart
on,
enough
hold
to
on. Let me finish
understand.
what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm
It's
saying.
just an infinite
Let
regression.
me
Like,
finish
there's
what
no
I'm.
thought.
Bro,
I'll
you
let
need to.
speak.
You need to relax. Chill. Okay. So I'm not smart enough. I agree. I'm a pretty stupid guy.
Yes,
We're on
I
the
agree,
same
sir.
page now. Let's move forward. So that means that you should be so smart that you could even explain it to somebody as dumb as me so I can understand it.
Okay,
But
I'll
before we
explain
do
it
that, does anybody in the chat understand what he's saying? Because I want to see if I'm the only stupid person here or if he's calling all of us stupid. I just want to see if that's which one it is.
You know why? I think it's because when you talk to someone in the frame
Hold on.
it's not even a conversation.
Bro, you need to
You're not
relax.
letting me have
Bro,
a conversation, so
hold
obviously it's not going to
on.
be
Hold
understood.
on. We're going to get where you're going, bro. I've let you do nothing but speak, and I've asked for 2
Yo,
seconds
I
of
know
my own time,
it's like
and then you won't shut up.
hard,
So
but
just
like
relax. Just
you make
relax.
someone
Just relax.
repeat themselves
Just,
multiple
bro,
times.
relax.
Yo,
Please
I'm
stop
relaxed.
talking.
I'm speaking
All right.
as a person.
If we
bro.
don't
Okay,
understand
I'm
what
gonna
you're
move.
saying, we're
I'm gonna
get
move
you to
on
repeat
because
it.
you just won't stop talking.
You're
Appreciate your
fucking
time.
retarded.
Bro would just not stop for 2 seconds to get into the chat. Just started bugging out
So angry.
for no reason. None whatsoever. I don't understand what you're saying. Aviator came in with $2, says word salad. Just so you know, bro, I don't know if you're still watching, but everybody in the chat says they didn't understand what you're saying. So you just came in here and called all of us stupid. Every one of us you called stupid. And I guess you are the smartest person on TikTok. I mean, that might actually be true. It's not exactly a steep place for intelligence here. All right, guys. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. The way to join is tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10. Password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gabriel came in with $5. Of course, I understand. The metaphysical reality of the juxtaposition of the subconscious and the conscious identifies the ontological substate. Easy. Okay, Jordan Peterson. Oh my goodness, that was a crazy one. Are you new game? Are you smarter than a TikToker? That would be pretty interesting. He needs to loosen his. I don't know if that's a fedora wearing guy or if that's. I don't know what was going on there. No clue. Mario just became a member. Mario, welcome to the channel. Thank you for
No, he's been
becoming
a member for 2 months, it says.
Why did it just say he became a member on my screen then?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe he re-became a member?
Mario, thank you for becoming a member. Abby just out here throwing shade.
It says he's a Templar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my membership. Anybody who becomes a member of my channel becomes a Templar. Because we need another crusade. So let me ask you, do you believe in heaven and hell? Yes, but if you want to have a conversation, come up. You can join at tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10, password 12345. I expect some low guests for a little while, until hopefully we get things going because we're doing a different topic today. We shall see. If it's just going to be low guests, we'll just hang out. We'll just do a hangout. Are you using pretty whack as a good thing or a bad thing? Can it be used as a good way? It's a bad way. We need a new Baldwin. Based. It's crazy how that movie, like, they try to portray Christians as the villains, and Christians are just like, nah, bro. No. That guy that you portrayed as the bad guy, we're taking him as the hero. That movie, I haven't watched it. I should actually watch it, but I've seen a lot of clips. I don't even remember it was a movie about Baldwin, who was a Templar leader, and he had a bunch of diseases, and he ended up dying at a very young age.
John watches like entire movies on TikTok in clips.
Sometimes, yeah.
Drives me nuts.
But it happens like throughout time. It's not like in one sitting. It's like as I'm scrolling, I'll see a clip, and then by the time I've seen enough clips, I've watched the whole movie.
Can't handle you.
Because I'm not sure if I want to watch the movie. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
I'm 19.
All right, bro. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
I think all spirituality is pretty whack.
Okay, then it's a W then. Thank you.
Can I get a taco though?
No. Appreciate your time, bro. Bro just out here trying to get a taco.
You agreed.
Came up, I agree with your topic. Okay, cool. That's a W for me. And then he's like, give me that taco though. Am I born again Christian? That's a very new concept. I'm going to look that up. ChatGPT. I love ChatGPT. Although it cannot be used as a source. It can be used to find sources. The problem is people say ChatGPT says so, and therefore it's right. That's not true. When was the term? Let's look that up.
That's true. Someone said your prompt is actually wrong this time. It should say prove it wrong, not prove it.
Prove me wrong. I'm claiming it's whack.
Yeah, but you said prove it. You
What?
said it's pretty whack. Prove it. in your
Oh, that's just because I left it from last time. There we go. Fixed. All right. As early as the first, 4th century. No. Protestant reformers like Martin Luther and John Calvin emphasized intraspiritual renewal, along with the born-again concept. They're not always using that phrase itself. 18th century evangelical, the term gained more frequent use during the Great Awakenings, especially through preachers like John Wesley and George Whitefield, who emphasized personal conversion. So, yeah, I of course I am born again. I'm not against that term, but I think it's one of those terms that kind of took over as the standard to being a Christian. You need to be born again, and I don't think that's a term that was really used for a long time. All right, guys. So New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. The place to join is tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10, password 12345.
Hi, Mitchell.
Hey, Mitchell. I missed you. Why is a medical procedure messed up? What? Oh, they think it's abortion.
Oh.
We're not doing abortion today. I can't do it. My soul can't handle it. All you guys coming up and saying, hey, I want to kill my child. I want to unalive my children. You shouldn't take away my right to unalive my newborn baby, my fresh new human. I want to be able to unalive it. And you're a monster for telling me I can't unalive. It destroys my soul, bro. It destroys my soul. The amount of people out here on the planet who just think unaliving their child is just a fun time. Just a fun time. Mocking is for the mature. Based. Super based. Mocking is for the mature, and I am the most mature. I am the most mature. All right, we got a guess. Let's bring them up. Add a label. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Good. How old are you? All right, let me bring you on. Give me 2 seconds. All right, man. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Go ahead.
Yeah, I suppose I just wanted to clarify one thing to see if, like, if I wanted to make sure that this was understood on my end. I wanted to know, what do you mean by New Age spirituality, just so I understand what was like that it's kind of vague, and I'm just curious what you mean by that before, if I even agree or disagree.
Yeah, so like tarot cards, stones, manifestation, psychic abilities, God is within me, I am God, I'm connected to the universe, all those nonsensical BS that people seem to be running with nowadays.
So it's not in terms of like give me I'll give you an example. Are you talking about like indigenous cultures that are trying to, while many of them got lost, or however historically they started to come back, but there's a lot of filling in the holes in that regard, and I understand where some of it can be a little odd, where they kind of take from outside sources. So I just wanted to know if that fits that criteria of like
Yeah,
new
that's pretty
age in
whack
that
too.
regard. Okay, so like I kind of like don't completely disagree, but let me just ask you
Another
this.
W.
Probably, but we'll see. One of the things too, when it comes to like, new age and the conversation, and then I don't want to broad stroke any like indigenous cultures and their faiths and their religions. That's not what I'm interested in
Mhm.
talking about. But I wanted to know, especially when you're saying that the new age spirituality is pretty whack. I just wanted to know, when you say whack, I know you mean it in a bad way.
Yep.
Um,
Does anybody
do
use
do
whack in
you
a
mean
good
that
way?
there's
Because it's like the
no,
second person. Sorry, go
no,
ahead.
no, no. Sorry, I don't mean it to. I know you mean it in the negative way. That's what I mean. But
Yeah,
I wanted to know, like, by whack, you mean that it's not real. There's no authority to it.
all of the above.
Like, what do you mean? But okay, so it's like bunk. Like it's no good. Don't even go into it. Is
No,
is that what I'm hearing?
no,
Okay.
it's pretty trash.
So let me go back into. Let me just use just a little bit of that indigenous argument, because that's something that's true to my heart. But what I wanted to ask in this regard to the new age spirituality is there are a lot of varieties of different cultures, different beliefs that all have come to a similar conclusion. Actually, in many ways, some stories very similar to the Bible, but they're obviously not. So if there are something that has some similarities to Christian ideas or similarities to Christian ethos but are not Christian, does that necessarily make it whack or not?
Now they're jacking. They're
But
stealing. That's part of one of the reasons I think New Age spirituality is pretty whack, is because they jack ideals from the Christian worldview and then impose it upon themselves as if it was their own thing. So, for example, they say, I manifested it. It's like, okay, well, we're praying for it. And so you're using like a same methodology, giving it different words, and you'll say the universe gave this to me. Well, you're just taking out the word God and positing it with universe. And so I think a lot of it's just stealing from Christian ideals, because at the end of the day, everybody ultimately desires to be a Christian, whether they know it or not.
no, and I get what you're saying, but my premise, as I'm arguing, is that there are other cultures that may have not even experienced or may have not had any direction or any involvement with Christianity, but yet may have similar ideas that may fall in line with that. And so I'm just wondering,
Can you
why
give me
does
an
it make it
example?
whack? Yeah, I'll point to my culture, just to kind of make it simple. I'm not trying to talk about anyone else specifically.
Mm-hmm.
In my culture, we have a creation story, and I imagine through, if it was a biblical a biblical instance, your creation story would be Genesis. Is that a fair assumption?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so in my story, we do also have somebody that created beings, like, which is a very similar to what God has created, in our image,
Well,
or we are created in His image. Sorry.
that's a huge branching correlation, creation to creation, right? I don't say that's a correlation or something that's taken from each other. I don't know what your story is. You haven't told me, but of course there are like ancient Near East creation accounts, but most of it's like through death or sex, right? This the Christian viewpoint is the only one that I can see from this time period that creation is ex nihilo.
Sorry, you cut out in that last bit for me. What was that last sentence? Sorry.
From nothing. So it creates from nothing. So for example, I forget what it is, but there's a Babylonian, and it's Near East, where it's like how creation worked is two gods fought from each other, and they killed the other one, and then humanity came out of that other god's spine or blood. And so we see obviously there's correlation in like huge broad terms of like creation, but in the methodology in which that creation happened, I think Christianity is unique.
Okay, so by that, okay, so I think I'm understanding more your premise here, is that the uniqueness of Christianity is, and then everything else that seems to come after. That's why I'm seeing like New Age spirituality is a quote unquote whack,
Mm.
because it seems to, you mentioned, it borrows or it takes or it's kind
It
of like
also-
in that regard. And
It also has no
I-
basis for anything.
right.
Yeah.
Well, so that's kind of also hard for me too, as well. And again, I'm just going to use the indigenous argument just for a quick point here, is because there's a lot of oral tradition passed down generationally that could, again, it's not nothing written down, it's not substantive, but many people who genuinely believe into this culture, who genuinely believe and follow, they practice as they preach. I don't know if that necessarily makes it quote unquote whack. I think it's a different interpretation, and I just wanted to know what you thought of that.
Yeah, just because something's passed down from generation to generation doesn't mean it's not whack. Whackness can be passed down.
Right. Okay. Okay. I don't disagree. I'm not disagreeing with that. That's it's pretty funny. But passing down whackness, I actually like that. I'm gonna take that one. I like that. I said, honestly, I don't think I have a rebuttal. I was just more curious in this regard. I guess more or less I was trying to understand, like, by spirituality and whack in this regard. I know that you understand the conversation now, but I just believe and I feel, and I know these are very arbitrary concepts that I'm not gonna pull up some fact sheet for you, but when we communicate in terms of, for example, a lot of indigenous cultures, specifically mine, with our creation story, we have something that we're tied to, nature, which is something very tangible, something we can see and experience and feel, and that's not necessarily whack at all. It's something that we can experience together.
I think it's
You and
whack.
I, for
Yeah,
example.
I think it's whack because you have to ask yourself, could nature be another way? If the answer is yes, then it's contingent. If it's contingent, it requires an explanation. Therefore, creation had to come from somewhere. So you're missing a piece of the puzzle.
But what piece?
Wherever creation came from.
Well,
wherever nature came from. Sorry.
Okay. So I guess that kind of gets to the crux to what I'm talking about. For my creation story, it is created by a singular entity, for example. That doesn't sound totally dissimilar to something from the Bible.
What is this entity?
Well, we call him, well, in my language, he's called Sungwaya Dizum, which translates to creator, or he created our bodies, to be very specific. And so we kind of believe like we were molded into clay, something that was made from the earth. Again, just a belief. I'm not trying to.
Well, hold on. I'm doing the cockeyed thing, not because of you, because somebody in the chat asked me if I was castrated. I was like, what?
Oh,
That's a crazy thing. Okay, so what's the name of your god and how do I spell it?
yeah. So what we call him is Sung. It's hard because it's in the Mohawk language, so it's not gonna spell the way. And I would actually be more impressed you could actually find anything on him online, just because it's I wouldn't say it's esoteric or anything, but Sung, as in SONKWATIZUM. Sungwaya Dizum. Again, this is in the Mohawk language. Just
Literally.
I would be surprised if it's online. I know. When you asked me to do that, I did the same because I was curious myself. No, same. I completely understand. I can't prove or anything in that regard, but culturally relevant to me, this is something I grew up with, specifically. If you want if you're using
I tried start page, and then I tried Chat GPT and nothing. So like I can't make any comment because I don't have any reference.
No, and I can see why this is maybe this is actually, it might be moot now from my perspective, because I don't this is kind of tough.
Now I agree there's a lot of cultures that have this concept of like just the vagueness of a creator, right? So First Nations cultures really have this concept. So they'll call whatever made everything, they call it the creator.
Spirit, right?
Yeah, well, most of what I've heard is the creator. But the problem is there is no consistent story in their cultures. So for example, I heard from like one tribe, because I used to live in a community that was primarily First Nations, and I'm not well studied on it, so I'm not claiming to be any sort of expert, but I heard like one tribe say that, everything was created from a crow, and the crow would walk out with its cane and put the cane in the water and create everything. And I've heard different types of creation stories from different ideas that are passed down. And one like I had a teacher in high school, and he kind of made this point where he's talking about how they had this belief that of the respecting of the animals, you had to bury their bones. And he's like, well, this would be a really great way to get kids to make sure they clean up their messes and don't leave the bones of their fish on the ground just in their tent, that they, because there's a consequence from the spirits if you did so. And so there's like
Right.
this whole bunch of like vagueness and all over the place, and mythos that seems to be anywhere, and you can't find like a consistent narrative. And so if I don't see consistency in it, I'm going to say it's probably just, made up stuff.
Can I add just one bit of a rebuttal to the lack of inconsistency that you're mentioning?
The lack of consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to understand historically, especially understanding the indigenous histories, I'm not too sure if there is I don't know if the word genocide could be said on this live. If that's like a
Shmenicide.
banned word. Sorry. 'Cause I know there's certain words
Just
I
add,
don't want to.
just any word you're not sure about, just add an S to it and you're fine.
Okay. So, the mass, spenicide. It's so funny. So, we have a lot in terms of, we had like a lot of institutional powers that came across through colonization. And again, this is actually both the weakness and the strength of oral traditions, is because as soon as you have a mass culling or a dying or a unaliving event that happens, you end up losing a lot of stories. You lose a lot of that connectiveness. You lose a lot of context clues, historically, linguistically, culturally, religiously, etc. So that to me can only prove a bit as to why stories might be inconsistent, and hence why I wanted to come in here and ask you about what you meant by New Age spirituality, is because there's been a large resurgence of indigenous communities coming back, rediscovering their old ties and connections, but obviously there's some holes left in there. Now, I'm not trying to blame necessarily any one event or to kind of make anybody the villain in this regard. I'm simply speaking just from a historical precedence.
Okay.
So,
So the first thing I say, I'm not entirely convinced it was a Shmenicide. Now I'm not saying it wasn't. I haven't looked into it deep enough, but there are some reasons that I believe it is, some reasons I believe it isn't. I do agree they were treated very poorly, and there was a lot of bad things that happened. I don't think that's deniable. With that being said, I think that if the basis of their culture and their spirituality had any truth with it, and there was this great creator and this crow that actually had any control, what you would expect to see is a continuation of these ideals, because obviously these ideals were important for that creator to impart it upon their culture in the first place. So even if it was lost by somebody like us, this creator would be more powerful and would continue these ideals or find a way to make it continue. And I think a good example of this is in Christianity. There's been many cultures who've tried to stamp out and Shmenicide Christians and try to wipe away the ideal of Christianity. But I think the creator is actually, our creator is actually real, and therefore he keeps this information going, and he prevents it from being wiped out.
so you just said a very interesting term there, and I do agree, actually, because I've actually recently started learning into like Christian persecutions not that long ago, and I thought it's actually quite an interesting historical context, especially what Christians had actually gone through in Rome. But one of the things I wanted to add, you kind of mentioned like about the creator, right? Like it's like my creator. You kind of make a separation. And I was just curious, do you believe that the creator that I'm speaking of and the God that you speak biblically are two different entities entirely?
Possibly. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. I think there's a lot of these so-called gods that are just ideas and they're not actually real. But I hold to the divine council theory, which basically states in the Christian worldview, there's Elohim, which is like a broad term of God, but then there is the Most High, and that will be our God, and He's the God that created everything. In Deuteronomy 48 or 42, I don't remember. I think it's 42. You can see that the Most High, El Elyon, which is who I think our God is, separated the nations and gave to the nations, separated the nations. And then to his children, he gave them the nations. He gave them the portions. So we have these lowercase g gods that went out and ruled the world as well. And so we would expect to see other nations worshiping other types of gods. And that was the problem. This is actually one of the things our God condemns them for in Psalm 82, is he said that you went out, you were supposed to rule over them, but you did evil. You led them astray, and then you made yourself idols. And then for that, you will be punished. So they went out and they started these new religions when they weren't supposed to. They were just supposed to rule over these nations.
But I don't know if that explanation necessarily makes those, like, if anything, I would even say that there's now a more biblical connection to these other new age.
Oh,
Or I wouldn't say new
I
age.
apologize. It was Deuteronomy 32. Thank you for correcting me, Hoodie.
Sorry, what?
I was just correcting. It wasn't Deuteronomy 42. It was 32. Go ahead, though.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. What was my thought? Oh, so you mentioned that, like in a biblical sense, there's these other, either there are ideas or perhaps there are, like you mentioned, just remind me again, you mentioned it was like either other like spiritual entities who are ruling like gods, or what do you mean? I just want to make clarify.
Some situations they would just be ideas, and some situations they would be actual beings, like actual tangible ontological beings that were ruling over nations, but they were doing it in a sinful way. Some of them did it in a good way. For example, in the book of Daniel, the book of Daniel, we can see two of these angels fighting each other because one was ruling over Persia, Persia in an improper way, and the other angel was fighting him for doing said thing.
Right. And to just reevaluate just one concept here, is it, I take it your position, and again, I'm not trying to put any words in your mouth, correct me if I'm completely off base or incorrect, that the position that in your context is a biblical one, correct? Like you're a Christian.
Well, yeah, I'm a Christian,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify. So is the issue that the other monotheistic cultures are the problem and they kind of they got it wrong? Like you mentioned, they don't have, like, they're either just ideas, or in some cases they're actual tangible beings, or is it the concept of multiple gods, or in our words here today, is it just all whack?
Well, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think any religion that's not Christianity is whack, if that's the question you're asking.
Yes. Okay. And so that doesn't really matter necessarily if certain belief systems believe that you and I are talking about of the same God, for example, where there are some belief systems out there, including many indigenous ones, where the Christian God and the God that they are talking about are one and the same, just different interpretations. Hence why I'm wondering why it's considered whack, if it's kind of almost leading to a similar, not necessarily goal, but at least a concept.
We wouldn't say that they're worshiping the same God. We'd say they're worshiping an idol, right? Because if you deny Christ, you deny God.
So that's okay. That's another very important part of this conversation. It's not necessarily just like a God or the belief of God, like like in Judaism, Islam, or any other monotheistic religions like Zoroastrianism or whatever. It's more or less about Christ center. Is that a incorrect thing to say?
But so it's like saying this. It's like saying, hey, you and I have the same dad. And because we were both created, we both were birthed, but my dad is 5'6", your dad is 6'4". Well, obviously there's something different here, so it can't be the same dad. Even though if we say it's the same dad because there's certain properties that are similar, it's not, right? So when I'm looking at Yahweh, Yahweh, and Jesus, I see certain ontological properties that define who that God is, and if your God denies those properties, and I cannot conclude that they're the same God.
Right. Okay. Actually, I'm on the comment section. Somebody actually brings up a good point. I appreciate being called a good guest, but perhaps I may not be defending New Age, for example. But I suppose the reason why I wanted to bring this conversation is that only from an indigenous perspective, I'm not trying to speak on behalf of anyone else's experiences. I understand it's a lot more nuanced than that, but I am saying that there are many individuals, especially indigenous communities, and that I myself was a cultural educator, for a time. I mean, you could argue since growing up, but a lot of the problems, even actually a criticism I say of these cultures and these traditions, is that with this resurgence, we as a societies and peoples and indigenous cultures are trying to fill in the blanks, so to speak, as they're trying to come back. And so when I hear the New Age spirituality is pretty whack, prove me wrong and win a taco, well, I like the concept of winning a taco here. I'm just a bit worried in terms of how that might necessarily stunt, people who have been, brutally oppressed, brutally marginalized, and, who have had a tough go at things, who are just simply trying to pick themselves back up. And that's kind of why I
Yeah.
wanted to ask for clarifications and
Yeah,
defend it
yes.
that way.
So this might make me seem like a monster, but I do want to stunt that. I don't want them to go back to their pagan beliefs. I want them to come to Christianity.
And so tell me, you can say that this is the wrong place for this conversation, because I know the premise is New Age is pretty whack, prove you wrong. I just wanted
Mhm.
to maybe, and again, you can choose to say no and not answer this at all, but I wanted to know, are you, so you mentioned like you don't want people to, or at least indigenous people, you don't want them to go back to
Mhm.
what you believe is incorrect.
Yep.
Is that a, okay.
Yeah, I want
So
everybody on earth to be a Christian. That's what I want.
what would be your most important argument for indigenous people who are and trust me when I say that a lot of indigenous people absolutely 100% fall into what I would personally call new age um concepts like tarot card readings and things like that, and
Mhm.
it's often just they're trying to reclaim something what they lost, and there's a deep sense that people, when you lose something, you lose a part of yourself and you want to gain it back. So I understand what you mean by like new age to an extent. Even in our traditional cultural circles, we have a similar concept that we kind of fight back a little bit. But to you, I just wanted to ask, when it comes to, indigenous people specifically, as you mentioned that you don't want them to fall back to their ways, what is the best and most compelling argument for us as indigenous people to not, in your eyes, revert back and instead go to God or Jesus Christ in this case?
Right. Well, real quick, Roland came in with $5. Says Mark 9:40 for that he is not against us is on our part. So first of all, I don't like broad banana. I don't know why I said banana. Broad umbrella arguments that are supposed to encapsulate an entire people group. I think every individual, no matter what they believe, is an individual, and we shouldn't seagull manage them. They're going to have to be approached based off their own individual priors and premises and biases. So it's going to be based on a case to case basis. Ultimately, I would say this if I was forced to answer, though. Yeah, losing a part of yourself isn't always a bad thing. I used to be an atheist. That was a big part of who I was for most of my life. Losing that was a phenomenal thing. It was a great thing. Finding Christ was way better and something that I should have done a long time ago, even though I lost a part of myself. Now, at the end of the day, it's not about who you are, what makes you feel better. It's about what's true. And that's ultimately what you should seek out. And I think through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, that has the most explanatory power for how we came into existence and which religion is true.
Okay, and it's funny, like, and I understand that I asked the question, but believe it or not, I do genuinely believe in this concept. I don't believe in broad strokes either. It's just more like I want to kind of pick your brain on in terms of, the greater concept of indigenous revitalization efforts, because believe it or not, there are actually many who are exactly what you're talking about, that their revitalization efforts are actually through Christianity itself. There are large population centers of indigenous communities, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
that are in fact Christian. And
Yep.
I don't know anything specifically about which denomination in this part. That's not really what I'm interested in, but I'm interested more in terms of the concept of new age spirituality can be a positive for indigenous circles who are trying to come back from a bleak existence. But from our conversation here, the correct course is
Well,
Christ. Is
how
that
are you defining a positive though? How does it make it positive?
so? And that's a great question. And, a matter of fact, that kind of varies depending on what they're using to fill that void. For example, like, I don't think tarot cards or, like reading palms or anything like that regard is a very healthy form of conversations, or at least to kind of fill a cultural gap. But I think that a lot of indigenous concepts that believe that being connected to the environment, needing to be a steward of the environment, very part of the I guess the circle of life, I think is an incredibly beneficial thing, especially in today's
Yeah,
conversation
yeah,
with
but you're
climate.
just kind of I just pause you because you're kind of just explaining what it is. I'm asking why it's something that is good and something that they should seek out.
Yes.
That's to their betterment.
Okay. No, no, that's fair. Oop, that's a ill-timed phone call for me. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm just gonna mute that. Just a quick second. And I suppose I'm gonna wrap this up with my last thing here, and then I won't bother you much longer.
Mhm.
But the positive, to be more specific, let's just use the environment, just because that's a very just clear. Okay, this person really wants to talk to me. So hold on, let me ask the question. So I think it's a positive thing that indigenous cultures being stewards of the land and resources in terms of a healthy environment, healthy people in its environment. I don't see that as an overall negative. And I don't see examples of that within Christianity. And I'm not saying that Christianity doesn't care about the environment, but I think that indigenous people's specific environmental goals, which may be different between tribes, are inherently good for the people, for the land, and perhaps its countries.
Yeah, but you don't need the spirituality aspect to achieve those goals.
But why not?
It's unneeded, right? I like, for example, the Pope, the last Pope, was very like, he wrote a thing that was like controversial because people like called it idolatry, like the 10 Commandments of taking care of nature. Right?
Christians should be concerned about taking care of the earth.
Yeah, that's true. But either way, I'm saying is that your specific religious beliefs do not correlate to a desire to take care of the planet. Like, I think that's an individual, because I know atheists who want that. I know Christians who want that. I know spiritual people who want that. You don't need that spirituality to have that desire to take care of the planet.
But to reframe it back to your original point here, you're saying New Age spirituality is pretty whack, but a lot of this New Age spirituality uses that similar concept, specifically in terms of indigenous cultures. And I'm not saying all indigenous cultures are New Age, many are extremely ancient. But I'm saying that when people are coming back to the fold but may not know the whole thing, they're going to fill it with whatever makes sense. And it's actually a rather unfortunate thing that whatever they fill actually, I don't know if it's a real word or not, but they're Christianophobic. If that, I don't know if that's a word or anything, that they're afraid that something that even looks or sounds or even acts Christian, they don't want it because of historical reasons.
Sure. The one thing I would say though is let's use this analogy. Let's say me thinking that I'm a unicorn causes me to hug people more and smile more. Should I think I'm a unicorn?
Sorry, my mic got messed up. No.
Right. So even if their spirituality leads them to do things that are more beneficial to the nature, that doesn't mean that spirituality thing is a good thing. It could still be whack, even if the outcome is them taking care of nature.
No, like, yeah, no, I can, yeah, no, I can. I don't have a rebuttal. No, I mean, I'm not disagreeing at all. I guess I'm not gonna win a taco, am I?
I kind of want to buy you one because you're such a nice guy, but if I did that, I'd have to do it for everybody.
No. Don't treat me any different than anyone else. No, I would not allow it. Absolutely not. You can keep the taco money for your winner.
Right,
I do have to go because that's actually my wife, and I feel kind of bad doing that. So I better not do that any longer. So
Hung
thank
up
you very
on
much.
your wife.
Yes, right, I know. I'm being real bad. You know what? Here she is. Perfect timing. Please.
All right. God bless me. W's for that guy in the chat. Super honest guy.
Great.
Super good conversation. Go to guest for sure. For sure. All right, guys. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Win a taco. You can join at tinyurl.com/Big John Steel 10 password 1 2 3 4 5. And if you also want to join, you can join on TikTok through the multi-guest button. If you're just here to watch and you haven't hit the like button, you haven't shared this with your grandma, well, then you're just taking free content. You're just a freeloader. You can contribute by smashing the like button as many times as you possibly can or are allowed to, depending on where you're watching, and then sharing it with as many people as you possibly can or are allowed to. That's how you can contribute if you want to. Also, I've been told, and this is true, I need to promote my Patreon more. If you guys want to support my channel, you can do it on my Patreon. Link is down below. Jordan, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man, just give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right, bro. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Okay, so what? I'm terribly sorry. What in your view is New Age spirituality?
Yeah, so it's the idea of like, I am God, I am the universe, manifestation, tarot cards, crystals, all those types of things.
Okay, gotcha. I guess I'll start out. what's kind of your main push to believe in Christianity? What kind of converted you? I think you mentioned earlier that you used to be an atheist before.
Yeah, so the reason I became a Christian is I had what's called a Christophany. I had a miraculous experience with Christ, but I wouldn't use that as an argument because that was specific to me and I couldn't prove that to anybody.
Right.
Although I do think encapsulating everyone's individual Christophanies is a solid evidence for the existence of Christ. But ultimately, I would say one of the most convincing arguments is the death and resurrection of Jesus.
Okay, and what specifically about the resurrection?
Well, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
So, like, what kind of evidence do we have on the resurrection that makes you believe that it is, valid proof?
Yeah, so we have the historic reportage model. Basically, all the evidences that record his death and resurrection, I think, is astronomical when it comes to history. And if we are to treat evidence consistently, I think it's enough to say that the best explanatory power for what happened is that Jesus Christ actually resurrected from the dead.
I see. Do you have like an example of one of these pieces of evidence? Just because I've looked into it a little bit and I've never come across anything that is like ironclad, absolute fact, irrefutable.
Okay, so instead of going through like all the small data, that's going to take me about an hour. I'll just do like an appeal here. The scholarly consensus is that Jesus Christ was crucified. So, for example, John Dominic Crossan, not a Christian, says one of the most assured things that we know in history is Jesus was crucified. There is a similar amount of evidence that says he also resurrected. So, for example, the Gospel of John says he was crucified. The Gospel of John also says he resurrected. This is the same with the other Gospels. We also have the epistles that say he resurrected, and then we have extra biblical writings of what you would expect to see if Jesus Christ actually resurrected, so much so that there is no naturalistic explanation or hypothesis that explains all the data. The only reason that I believe scholars deny the resurrection is because of this thing called an appeal to analogy, which is they cannot accept anything in history that they do not see on a day-to-day basis. So, for example, if they read 1,000 documents in history that said they saw an alien spaceship, they'd have to deny it because they personally have not seen alien spaceships.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so just as an example, let's say if religion was originally, let's just use the word created, as a form of control, governance of kind of, communities, things like that. If that was the case, would that not then explain away why there is mention and almost, reinforcement of the story throughout kind of that civilization period?
Right, so I just learned this last night. A friend of mine texted me and said, "This is what your followers are doing," and you kind of did it. I know not intentionally, but what you just did is called. I'm just, what was the word? What was the word here? I'm just trying to get my jargon down.
Yeah, gotcha.
Modal quantifier shift fallacy.
Oh, okay. That's the one.
So basically, you're stating that, hey, there is a possibility here. So therefore, as long as I can posit a possibility, I can deny your probability. And so you're saying it's possible that people could have invented it for control. So I can deny all your evidence. The problem with just stating something as being possible does not increase its probability. I have no reason to expect that the Christian religion was invented to control. There's no evidence for that.
Okay. I could be doing a similar thing, but could you compare it to say, previously, before we knew about the Earth being a globe and things like that, there was a lot of historical documentation pointing that the Earth was flat, and that was kind of the consensus, right? But after that point, we've now come to new evidence, and it's very clear that we were mistaken in that period of our history. Could this not be a similar thing? Almost because there's no way to demonstrably prove that resurrection is even possible. I don't know if I've just muddled that up, but
yeah. So basically, you're just kind of positing science of the gaps now. You're basically saying we haven't figured out a scientific method to discover this, but eventually we will. So we'll just wait. Right. And that's the same with God of the gaps argument, where it's like God of the gaps says you don't have a scientific explanation for this, so it's just God.
But I think we almost rely on science to know what's going on around the world. That's kind of been humans, if anything, like best investment into like what we've researched into is science, understanding the world around us.
Science can only determine what is, not and what is through a specific means. So science can't determine like what is modal logic or what is a contradiction. Science can't determine historical facts or what happened in the past. Science cannot determine, meaning or value. Science can't determine any of these things. It can only derive things like if I do X, I will get Y. And so if I keep doing X, I always get Y. These are things that science can determine.
But then, so yeah, I guess I just would, we've examined like dinosaur bones. We've managed to recover all sorts of things, backing up a lot more on the science's arguments than what we've seen from the Christians' arguments. Like,
Right,
how do you factor in?
but the dinosaur bone is just observation, right? If with the Christian arguments, it's just observation as well. It's the same thing.
So, again, forgive me if I'm being naive or anything. What is kind of your belief in terms of evolution?
I'm agnostic.
To the whole idea of evolution.
Yeah, so I used to hold to evolution, then I started looking into it a bit more, and now I'm unconvinced. I think there's a lot of correlation going on with evolution, and so I'm not denying it, and I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I haven't dove into it enough to make a claim one way or the other.
Right, but then see that it does just strike me as a bit surprising, just because the amount of evidence for evolution, I would personally say, compared to what I've seen for Christianity, is
Okay.
infinitesimal.
Sure, no problem. Give me the evidence, and then I will say that evolution is true.
So, I mean, fossils, carbon dating, things like this.
Well, that's kind of a vague reference, right? So we have fossils, and carbon dating's known to have its problems, but even if it didn't have its problems, we just have fossils of old animals. That doesn't prove evolution.
But how old are some of these animals? Like, how old do you think the Earth is, for example?
4 billion, I think it is.
Okay, I see. And where do you think that the majority of life's species have originated from?
Well, that's a very broad topic. I would say ultimately the starting source is God.
So, what do you think of evolution as a theory then? I'm sorry, I might be butchering this, but what are some of the things that you saw from evolution as a theory and thought, I don't believe it? You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't say I didn't believe it. I said I'm agnostic. That's different, right? So agnosticism, I'm not making a claim one way or the other. I haven't been convinced of it, and I haven't dove enough into it yet to say I am convinced. But so far, I've had quite a few conversations with people on evolution, and and the reason I've gone from believing it to agnosticism is that people kind of scoffingly come at Christians and go like, "Oh, you don't believe in evolution? What kind of dumb bee are you?" And then they posit all this information, and so I started asking, "Well, what is it? What is the data?" And then they kind of give what you gave, and I'm not throwing shade at you. You're a very nice guy, but they kind of gave what you gave. Well, fossils and dating methods. But that's not really that's a lot of evidence to just claim that we all stem from like a single cell and we all share ancestors. Like one of the claims in evolution is that we share ancestors with bananas, because me and a banana share 40% of our DNA, which means if we go far back enough, we have a common ancestor.
But then does DNA really work with the idea that God created all animals separately? Why would we have shared DNA?
Well, why is the entire universe made of the same 4 building blocks? Right?
That's a very vague question. But just as an example, if God was to create every creature on the planet, why would we have things like hips having whales previously? Why would they change over time?
I believe, I don't think anybody denies like changes over time, but we're talking about changes so vast that we all come from a single cell organism. That's what I'm talking about. Like obviously, blue eye color, changes in hair, hip bones, jaw lines, like these are changes that happen. Just real quick, Reality Shift came in with 1999. Hey John, I love your channel. It really helps me grow in my faith, but I have one question. How do we handle disagreements within the church? I've always just wondered how we would lovingly combat heresy without sound teaching. I just avoid them. That's me. I don't do infighting, but yeah, so you're gonna have to ask somebody else that question, and I apologize. I couldn't give you a better answer. Sorry, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So just on that kind of the fact that, we are aware and we've got, very, very solid evidence of changes in species over time.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean the hips for in a whale, for example. So I personally I can't conceive any idea why God would create a water animal, something that lives in the water, but then give it all the setup and the structure for hips. Doesn't
Yeah,
you know what I
but
mean?
that's again, that's just like a argument of silence. So, for example, for a long while we didn't know why we had gallbladder, and now we're starting to realize why we have it.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's say we've already kind of worked out. I think, as you said, we share certain DNAs with various other animals. Do you sign on to the idea that humans have evolved?
Yeah, I do think there is. I don't think, and I know there's. I know people get really butthurt when you say micro and macro evolution, and they say, "Oh, it's just
Mm,
the same thing. Stop doing it." And that's not you. Again, I'm not positing that on you. But I think the micro aspects of evolution, like changes within kinds and species, I don't think that's deniable, right? We see that we like women's birthing, right, has
mm,
changed over years, and it's very different to other animals. Same with like having wisdom teeth no longer fit in our face. Like there's obviously aspects that change. But that's just adaptation. We're just adapting to fit in with our environments that are around us.
mm,
I don't see any reason to like conclude that we have adaptations all the way from like being a single cell organism, or we all share the same ancestor, or that at some point me and a banana all derived from the same ancestors. I don't see any reason to conclude that as of yet. And again, I'm open to evolution. If somebody brings up an argument for evolution, I'm probably
mm.
going to say, hey, yeah, evolution is true. Like it doesn't conflict with what I believe in.
Right. Okay.
Just before you go, Roland came in with $10. Says evolution is better explained by preloaded information. RNA and DNA chains are reacting to the environment with many variables to adapt to life, to the changing conditions, not including mutations. Thank you, sir. All right, sir, go ahead.
So I've got one more little question for you. It's a bit unrelated to what we've been talking about. So how do you kind of reason with the idea that you are a Christian?
Mm-hmm.
I assume you are born in the West.
Mm-hmm.
The chances of you becoming another religion, depending on where you were born at birth, seems pretty split up across the globe. You know what I mean? If you're born in India, majority you're going to be a Hindu. If you're born in all around the world, it seems different. Now, I don't understand how, if there was an all-knowing God who um, like encrypted his knowledge into these Bibles and various Qurans and things like that, why would it be so split up? Why would he leave it so
Yeah,
almost against each other?
this is armchair psychology, right? And I just can posit a theodicy, which is just
Mm,
basically an explanation on why God would be justified in allowing that. And I'd simply say one of the reasons that God allows other cultures not to share the gospel or not to have the gospel is so that we can share it. So we can participate in that aspect with them. Because one of the most beautiful things about knowing Christ is telling other people about him.
mm. But then, like, I don't want to make it like uber political, but I mean, if you look at Israel Palestine, that from the outside look of it, it seems to be a normal war, but from the inside, it seems like you've got two sides who, from the readings and from what they believe to be the teachings of their books, they feel justified in killing one another. But
Unaliving, and I don't want to talk about the war.
yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that. I didn't.
No, you're
Yeah, I
good.
thought that was off limits. Okay, well, yeah, thank you for answering all my questions. I thought, yeah, it was a good chat.
No problem, man. Appreciate you coming up. Appreciate you being cordial. God bless and have yourself a great day.
You too, buddy. Take care.
Peace. All right, guys. Once again, New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. You can join at tinyurl.com/Big John Steele 10. Password 12345. You can also join on the multi-guest button on TikTok if that's where you are watching. If you do not plan on joining, make sure that you share, smash the like, do all the things that you need to do to get so we can get out to the guests that need to see it. Once again, I expect today to be a little bit slower because we're taking on a different topic than we normally do. So we'll see what kind of guests that we get in today. So, hey, could be a chill day if you're watching. Thank you so much for watching. And again, if you want to support the channel, please do so on Patreon. Links in the bio for that. We're going to be revamping the Patreon this weekend, by the way. So everybody that is a current member, you're going to start getting some things. I've just taken your money for no reason. All right, let's bring up the next guest. This is a heck of a name. Wapachop. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. I'll bring you in, and if you just wouldn't mind, you got some background TV going on. But New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong, Winnetalko. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much for taking us on. Yes, so spirituality being New Age spirituality being whack. I was really surprised that yourself would think that, because obviously you've converted from atheism to a religion.
Mhm.
Yours happened to be Christianity. You said you had, religious experience, which is most people's way into a religion, until they're exposed to something. They don't believe in anything unless they're just brought up with a religion. The reason I found it surprising that you thought that New Age spirituality would be whack is, surely this is the first breach of not being an atheist, and that's got to be good in any respect, right? They're willing to
Mm.
accept that there's something bigger than themselves. They might not know what that thing is, but they're reaching out and they're trying to find something in the universe, whether it be New Age spirituality that they stumble across first, or some other faith. But they're on the road. They've accepted that they are not, they're not an atheist anymore,
Yeah,
which
so
is
I'll give I'll give an example on why I don't think that works. But just real quick, Style Rail Working came in $2. Says great guest today, minus the first little baby. So just taking one falsehood and trading it for another, but saying it's moving in the right direction doesn't change that second falsehood to be whack. One could be more whack or less whack. So very grotesque, and I'm sorry to use this, but I think it drives my point home. Is let's say that somebody has the ideal that they can date an 8-year-old child, and then all of a sudden they move to the belief that they could date a 12-year-old child. It's not as whack as dating an 8-year-old child, but I wouldn't say dating a 12-year-old child is good.
yeah, it's still pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'll agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, yeah, both things can be true at the same time though. They're not mutually exclusive. Where someone could encounter, a fairly innocent, we're not going to use that gross example, but they could encounter a fairly innocent New Age spirituality, some sort of new religion that's springing up, or a sect of a religion, and it could lead them to a conclusion that, actually, do you know what? Maybe the Orthodox religions were onto something. Maybe there is something to the Abrahamic religions after all.
Sure.
It could pique their interest. There's a lot of if, buts, and maybes
Yeah.
for sure, and
The,
it's not like a universal. But even if 1 out of 1,000 finds their way to Christ as a result of having, you know, dabbled in other faiths,
right.
surely that is good.
Right. No, so this is like an all things considered philosophy. It's like all things considered, as long as they come to the best conclusion, then everything they did is good. I don't hold to that. I think God can use evil for good. And a good example of this would be Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Jeffrey Dahmer came to Christ before he passed on, and whatever happened after that, I don't know. But I don't think that necessarily means that everything that led him up to that situation was a good thing.
Wow, I didn't know that, and that is a really good rebuttal.
Thank you.
Wow, yeah, how do you come back from that? uh, I was going to go into the Roman Empire and the Crusades and how they were misinterpreted, but that's just thrown me for a loop, man. Wow. Okay, so I'll try it anyway, because I want the taco. I didn't get it last time. I was going to say, during the Roman Empire period, there was a transition from paganism, where they worship multiple gods,
Mhm.
to Catholicism, which, that is a sect of Christianity, correct? Is this?
Well, you're gonna piss off a lot of Eastern Orthodox by saying that. But we'll say Christianity. There's a debate on whether it's Catholic or Eastern Orthodox that goes all the way back to the beginning. But I understand
Okay.
your point. Go ahead.
They have the same prophet. This is what I'm saying. It's not even a prophet.
Sure.
It's Christ. They both believe in Christ. So at that point, paganism got replaced with Christianity. During that period, when the Roman Empire was expanding, the goal of the Roman Empire's expansion wasn't to spread Christianity. It might have happened, but that wasn't the goal. The goal was military, was for taxes, it was for control. They're warlike people. And the actual expansion slowed down a bit after conversion to Christianity, because obviously it's not in the book, is it? You know what I mean? To go and conquer your foes, it's not. There was a couple of examples in the Old Testament, but as a whole, it's not. You don't spread Christianity through war; you spread it through example. Correct?
Well, That's a great question. No, the methodology in which you spread Christianity is not with war as an intent, but war is not necessarily always like a condemned thing. Sometimes war is justified,
Yeah,
and yeah,
crusades, yeah,
yeah,
to
yeah,
reclaim the kingdom of Christendom, to take back
sure,
what was lost during the Islamic wars. Yeah,
sure,
there are times where war is acceptable in the Bible, but it's not really used as a method to spread the religion. That's what I'm trying
yeah,
to say.
yeah. Okay, I'll agree with that. Yeah, sure.
So, with that in mind, when the Roman Empire did expand during its Catholic era, you know,
He's doubling
it,
down.
it didn't impose Catholicism on the new settlements that it conquered. It allowed them to continue worshipping their pagan gods, and even incorporated their public holidays into the Christian faith. Well, not
No,
the Christian
I'll
faith,
stop you.
but into the Julian calendar. You know, things like Halloween and
Okay,
stuff like that. So
okay.
allowing these people to
Hold on. Okay,
continue.
can we pause just there?
Yeah, sure, sure.
The incorporation of like the pagan religions into the Christian calendar or Christian faith, I don't think is substantiated.
Okay, I'm not going to split hairs over that,
Sure.
but they definitely allowed the the populace to continue worshipping whatever gods they were worshipping at the time. It was never enforced that you had to become a Catholic. However, Catholicism did spread during that era through example. People wanted to become Christians because it was available. So they'd move naturally from, just from exposure, from being pagans, not being forced into Catholicism, but seeing the benefit of Christianity or Catholicism. You want to divide them into two things. I think they're the same. Um, and then they converted of their own free will. This wasn't something that was ever forced upon anyone in that era. So I think that does tie in with this New Age religion thing that a pagan can convert.
Hmm.
So allowing someone to find, like you dismissed it earlier, but I feel like the Roman Empire explained is a good example where allowing someone, not condemning them for being a pagan, just allowing them to do their thing and just exposing them to the best parts of Christianity. These guys have already found a faith. They've already accepted that they are not the center of the universe. There is something greater than them. They're much more um, open-minded, is the word I'm looking for, to being converted to Christianity if they're exposed to it. Whereas someone like myself, I am a hardcore atheist. You're not converting me any day of the week because I don't believe.
Hold on. Before you say that, Abby, did I once tell you the same thing
What?
that you would never convert me?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah,
Okay,
he did.
go ahead.
So, but if I did find a religion that I quite liked, and I decided to convert to that religion, yeah, you can argue that it might have some negative values in comparison to what Christianity's got or whatever. But just the opening the mind to the possibility that there is a God, whether you're worshiping the wrong God or not, it allows you that possibility to then accept a different God in the future.
Yeah, but
Whereas,
that still doesn't make it not whack, right? I think we established that earlier. And you say you can do it again, but I'm just going to give probably the same answer.
really, after all that explanation,
Yeah. Well, you even said
so
at the start of that explanation that.
so these pagan faiths, you wouldn't
Hmm.
compare those to a New Age religion.
Well, so let me give you a level of whackness.
Yeah.
Is somebody being open to the idea of God existing less whack than atheism? Yeah, it's less whack. But you know what's more whack is Muslims,
Yeah,
right?
no, agreed. I think,
So
that's
yeah,
for
so
sure.
they're more open to the idea of God existing, but I think that's more whack than atheism.
Yeah,
So
obviously,
we can have levels of whackness here.
yeah, that's a really good point. As much as I don't believe in faith, I at least have the sort of humility to accept Christianity's got some of the best values. I've never met a Christian I didn't like, which is why I'm happy to have the discussion. If this was about Islam, I wouldn't even entertain it. So yeah, it is. Yeah, I suppose that actually does derail the argument. If someone finds Islam as a result of a New Age religion rather than Christianity, they're not. You can't apostatize from Islam, can you? So, yeah, that's okay. Okay. You see, I'm thinking of these things as quite innocent, but I suppose there is a sinister undertone of where it could lead somebody.
Based. Just real quick, Jack came in 499. New Age takes all of what they think is good and abandons any accountability from any and all religions. New Age hinges on subjective moralism. Super based comment, Jack, the guitar god.
I did like some of the comments that the Native American gentleman had about, you know, some of the value.
I don't think he was Native American.
Oh, I thought
He said he was indigenous.
I think
Yeah.
I think he was talking about indigenous towards a different, because you can be indigenous in different communities. Like there's indigenous people in like New Zealand, indigenous people,
I know
and
what you're saying.
I might be wrong, but I just because when I spoke about First Nations indigenous, he didn't really contend that, and again I could be wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not too sure. But anyways, go ahead.
So even if someone were to stumble across like a New Age religion, which had really good values, very similar to Christianity, for example, I know you're saying there's a scale of whackness.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that would come in, right? So that's a lot less whack than, you know, some other alternative.
You know, you just gave me an idea. I'm gonna make a T-shirt, "Scale of Whackness," with all the religions on it.
That'd be
Okay,
funny.
yeah, I'd buy it. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty tongue in cheek. Okay, yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna convince you, man. I don't think I can win this taco. There's some really solid rebuttals which I am still trying to process, dude. The cogs are turning, but the Jeffrey Dahmer one got me. Um, that really is the clincher, isn't it? Like, just because something led you to God doesn't mean the thing that led you there was good. I mean, I'm pretty sure, you know, Big H, he was a Christian as well, wasn't he? So,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. There's just too many. Yeah, you can't use that argument, can you? What did you call it? Something about probability, any probability or something. What was the argument you said?
I don't think that correlates by saying just because something is possible doesn't mean it's probable.
No, it was something you used a different phrasing. I should have remembered that, but it just nailed it perfectly. Yeah, okay. I don't think I'm going to be able to convince you, Big John Steele, but it's been a pleasure speaking to you, and yeah, I'll look forward to the next one, brother.
You too, Wappa Chop.
Cheers, mate. Speak to you later. Bye.
What a great guy.
This has been great conversations today. Really good attitudes, really good personalities, and just like good faith, really good faith conversations today. And I think that's awesome. All right, guys, once again, if you want to join, it's tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteele10, password 12345, or 12345, or how do you say it in Spanish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's very close to French, isn't it? I don't know. All right, let's bring up the next guest. Jay, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hey, I'm 32.
All right, bro. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Winning taco.
Hey there. How you doing, man?
Good, man. You?
Yeah, very well. I was just wondering, because I've never called myself New Age, but I've had Christians call me that. Main reason being, I'm not sure how you feel about this, because when you listed the New Age, I didn't see it. I know you said tarot and crystals and the like, but astrology. I'm a very deep believer in astrology, and that's the reason I've been called New Age. But I do believe in God.
I classify that as New Age.
All right. And I'm just curious, what is it about astrology? Because I've asked Christians, they've told me it was from the devil, but I've never been given like a solid answer.
That's from Satan. I wouldn't say it's from Satan. I just think it's nonsensical. Doesn't really do anything or have any basis or reason to believe in it. Plus, stars change all the time, and most of the stars we're looking at aren't even there anyways. And there's no reason to believe that stars have causal power to any relation with us.
Okay, so you're not saying it's from the devil. You're just saying logically you don't believe it.
Well, it might be from the devil. I don't know, but I don't think so.
Understood. Okay. Well, the thing is, one thing that a lot of people get wrong about astrology is the stars, and I hear that all the time. But astrology is actually
can I pause? You're like in the middle of nature right now, aren't you? I could just hear squirrels and birds going. Bro's like
I am
laying on his back, looking at the sky, like I'm gonna call this.
Actually, I was on my swing. I'm on my swinging right now under a tree. I guess I am New Age, right? But anyway, astrology is based on the seasons, on Earth. I mean, yeah, there's a correlation. You know, we have symbols in the stars, but astrology is actually based on the seasons here. So it's as far as the devil argument, I mean, if you ever understood astrology or the language of it, and most people don't know it, so they don't see it. But if you do understand the language of it, you see it's real. And for me, like if it were from the devil, I think you'd be equating a lot of power to the devil, and the devil is more a parasite, not a creator, like God.
Well, hold on. We're kind of. What is the causal power of astrology?
I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?
What is it? What does it do?
Oh, what does it do? Oh, okay, yeah. Some people who don't know about astrology think that you predict things or you look into the future, stuff like that. But that's like newspaper, mainstream movie type bullshit. It's nothing like that. Astrology, when you're born and your sun is in a certain sign, you rhyme. It does not make you do anything. You simply rhyme, and your comfort zone is within some of those traits. That's all it is. And one of the best things you can do is go outside your comfort zone, which is outside your sign. And if you act like your sign, that's a bad thing. Okay, that's not good.
But the question again is, what is the causal power? So if I'm born on, like, I'm a Capricorn, what does that do?
What does that do? Are you saying what would be the importance of understanding it?
Yeah, what is the relevance? What does it change? What is,
I understand. Yeah. Okay. I mean, because you still have to work and you still have to pay rent. Right. Well, when you understand astrology, it's really just personal. It's not going to do anything externally in your life.
So
I mean,
there is no power in astrology.
Oh, there's power. It's there.
Okay, that's the question I'm asking. What is the causal effects of astrology?
I guess what I'm trying to say is when you understand your sign and when you understand astrology, you learn things about yourself, you learn things about you. For me, it was because I never believed in it, but for me, it was my negative traits. And I did, because my wife or my girlfriend at the time was throwing it at me. And
right. So again, I think my question is being lost. What changes in the universe?
That's what I'm saying.
Me being born. Hold on. Let me land the plane. What changes, like, in the universe? What actually happens when I'm born in January versus when I'm born in September? He left. Why did he leave? I hope he just got disconnected and didn't get upset and leave.
No, he is nice. But it sounds like he's just talking about personality traits, like the Enneagrams or even like Jordan Peterson's personality test. Like well, like you said, there's not really any power.
Well, but then I asked if there was power. He said there is.
Yeah.
And so I think he's saying that when you're born actually changes your personality traits, and I'm just curious how that happens, or what's the methodology, or why we would conclude that actually is true. All right, let's bring in a new guest. Well, what kind of name is that? Icon High School grad kid. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, how old are you? Is that right, Abby?
Yes.
Okay. The fundamental Gabriel came in $5, says the fundamental question: why should I believe my traits are tied to when I was born? Yeah, that's ultimately what I was asking. All right, man. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Winataco, go ahead.
All right. So I guess the most important thing to address first is, well, I would consider myself a Christian, right? But the thing is that with this, I suppose the argument or the topic you're posing today is basically arguing for what is the essential for Christianity. So I want to ask you first, what do you think are the essentials of what do you define a Christian is?
Believe the creeds.
Sorry?
Believe the creeds.
And what does that mean? Can you expand?
Believe the Apostles' Creed. Everything that says in the Apostles' Creed. Believe that, and you're a Christian.
So that's your standard of being Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, and you would consider people who don't hold to that to be not Christian.
Correct.
You mind elaborating a little bit? What do you mean by the creed? What is the belief? What is the set of beliefs?
What is the goal of this conversation?
to disprove you to what you define New Age Christianity or Christianity.
So this New Age Christianity. What is New Age Christianity?
Well, what that's the argument, right? We're trying to define what a Christian is to begin with,
But what does that have to do with New Age spirituality?
because it has the term Christian. And we can't argue if we don't have a coherent
It doesn't have the
definition.
term
Right?
Christian. It says
It
spirituality.
doesn't. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. There's no Christian there.
Yeah, but like, would you consider someone who claims to be Christian, but like, I guess not be in the category of like the conservatives or like the general? Because I
But
heard
what is the point
Do
of
you
this
use
conversation?
crystals?
What?
Is that the thing? Are you a Christian and you use crystals?
What is crystals?
Okay, so I'll just read the creed for you, and then this is what a Christian.
Yeah.
It's long, but so anyways, we believe in one God, the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth, of all things visible and invisible, and in one Lord Jesus Christ, the only Son of God, begotten from the Father before all ages, God from God, light from light, true God from true God, begotten, not made, of the same essence as the Father. Through him all things are made, for us and our salvation. He came down from heaven, he became incarnate by the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary, and was made human. He was crucified for us under Pontius Pilate. He suffered and was buried. The third day he rose again, according to the Scriptures. He ascended to heaven and is seated at the right hand of the Father. He will come again with the glory to judge the living and the dead. His kingdom will never end. And we believe in the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life. He proceeds from the Father and the Son, or the Son, the float way. I'm not getting into that right now, but anyways, it comes from God. And with the Father and the Son is worshipped and glorified. He spoke through the prophets. We believe in one holy Catholic apostolic church. That word Catholic there just means correct. It's not talking about the Catholic Church. And we affirm one baptism for the forgiveness of sins. We look forward to the resurrection of the dead and to the life of the world to come. Amen.
Okay. Well, I guess my opening question to you was kind of bad. I think it's not to define Christianity. I think it's to define what is posed in your topic, which is new age spirituality. So
What do
I
you
should
mean?
ask
That's literally what you
I would-
asked.
No,
That's literally what you asked me
my
to-
opening question was bad, right?
Well, you asked me
I
to
shouldn't-
define Christianity.
Yeah, which is better. I think it's better if I ask you to define the new age spirituality that you pose in your topic, so that we can start from that and see.
Yeah, so like tarot cards, crystals, I'm one with the universe, manifestation, that kind of nonsense.
Let's
Yeah,
see.
it means universal,
Because-
guys. Sorry, not correct. My mistake.
Yeah. Well, I see it because the thing is, like, nowadays, like I said, I consider myself the label Christian, but I do see like people going around and say like some claim to be Christians, but they're not. They're spiritual and they're not religious, something like that, right? So I guess it comes down to their specific theological belief, what they have about their theology, right?
I'm very confused on what you're trying to argue for here, man.
Essentially, like you're trying to say that the new age spiritual what's it called, new age spirituality is they have like a false belief, right, or false theological view, even though they claim themselves to be a Christian, right?
Are you
Because-
how are you defining new age spirituality?
I don't really know, because myself personally, I just go off with the theological belief I have. I don't consider it to labels. I consider it to like arguments and specific theological set of beliefs.
I have no idea what you're arguing for, man. Not even the remote clue.
Well, basically what I'm trying to say is that like Christian is just a label, right? You don't, when a person says like I'm a Christian, that's just the name tag. But like you have to analyze on a case by case basis of what that person believes theologically, right?
Why is that relevant to anything that we're talking about? What
Because-
does that have
yeah,
to
because-
do with New Age?
Because there's some Christians who claim to be Christian, but they say, "Oh, I'm spiritual. I'm not religious," or I'm like, yeah, something like that, which kind of relates to your topic, right? Love like
No,
newish spirituality, or
no, that doesn't relate to my topic.
so. I guess I misunderstand what you mean by new age spirituality. I guess.
I defined what New Age spirituality is for you. I already did that.
Let's see. Well, and would you say that I don't, I guess, fit that?
I don't know.
Label?
Do you do tarot cards and readings and manifestation and all that nonsense? Do you do all that?
I heard a manifestation. You mind elaborating it?
So you just think about things really hard and then it happens to you.
Oh no, I don't believe that.
Okay, so how the heck
Alright.
are you New Age spiritual?
So I guess not, but I was just confused to what I guess the term you use in your topic. So
Okay.
well, yeah.
All right, man.
God
Well,
bless you and your
I
wife,
appreciate it,
Mr.
man.
Jones.
All right, God bless, dude.
All right. Bye.
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 Super nice guy. Super nice guy. I think we were just lost in terms. Just that's all that was happening. Let's bring up another guest. Once again, guys, if you want to join tinyurl.com/BigJohnSteele10, and then you can convince me why New Age spirituality is the best. Jay, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Oh,
Oh, I'll bring you back.
Yeah, but I got to stay within my router range. And anyway, where we left off, what you had asked me was, what causal power does astrology have?
Hmm.
And what I would say is, it's not like God. It's not like a force. You know, it's not something that can make you do things. You understand?
Okay, then what relevance does it have?
In terms of relevance, it's like seeing patterns, understanding things personally.
but how is that not just like a personality trait thing? Like the
Yeah,
Enneagram or something?
yeah, there's nothing wrong with the personality traits, the INFJ, and all that type of stuff. There's
But
nothing
but
wrong with therapy and
but what does that
having.
have to do with the stars though? Like, why even bring the stars in at all? Modern Brain just
Well,
said Jesus is Lord. Amen.
right, I understand that, but I'm not preaching it as a religion or saying a person needs it to be saved, similar to a religion would,
No,
or
but
like
that's
Islam.
not my question. Like, I'm just saying, what is it? What is the purpose
Oh,
of it? Why
How does
even
it
have it
have
in the first
power?
place?
and that's what I said. That's what I was saying, my friend. I was saying it's a personal thing. Now, I'm not saying that it's like you need to learn astrology or you're not going to be saved. It's a
No,
personal thing.
I get it's a personal thing, but I'm just saying, why do it at all?
Because one of the best things that ever happened to me was learning the traits, the supposed traits that I had that were negative traits. And when I really sat down and looked at it and thought, wow, I really am
But
unforgiving,
but
you
what does
know,
that have to do with the stars
let that, because it has nothing to do with the stars, it's the season.
or the seasons? What does it have to do with the seasons?
That's just a pattern God made. I wouldn't be able to answer that question. All I know is the pattern is there.
Wait. Then you're saying that there is causal power to the seasons and how we behave.
Well, no, because you still have free will.
But you're saying there's a causal power, which means that the seasons do determine something about us.
It, I mean, in a sense, what I took by causal power, I thought you meant like God, like something that makes you do things.
Well, there's a cause and effect. So that means the season has a cause that affects my personality traits.
It, yeah, but the way you're saying it is like it forces you. But you do have free. For example, just off the top of my head, they say, "Oh, Aries are angry. Aries get mad. Or Capricorns can feel empty or dead, or stuff like that." And the thing about that is, an Aries can, on their own, choose not to be mad. A
Yeah,
Capricorn can be happy.
I get what you're saying is that it has a causal effect, but you can choose not to be a part of that causal effect. My question still remains: how do the seasons alter aspects of my ontology?
You're saying how? I already answered you that, my friend. I said that there's a pattern there. As for why or how, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, God's the one who created all this.
So it's just correlation is causation.
Well, if you ever sat down and actually understood the language and saw the pattern, yeah, something's there. I'm
But
not saying you
what I'm
need it to
saying
be
is your
saved.
argument is correlation is causation. You're seeing a correlating factor and you're assuming it's a cause.
I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, man. Yeah, if you're looking at it with those eyes.
But
But the biggest thing,
that's fallacious by nature.
okay, but the biggest thing is if you actually know it and you see it, it's a passive effect. It's not something that's being forced down on people. It doesn't make you do things. But when you see the pattern and you know it's there and you understand it's from God, it's just a beautiful thing. That's all.
Okay, hold on. We're going to do an experiment here. Okay. Okay, so everybody in the chat, I'm gonna give an explanation. You're gonna tell me if this associates with your personality. Are you an extremely hardworking visionary leader? Are you a trailblazer? Um,
Here, I
are you
mean,
considered sophisticated with
I
unrivaled talents? Hold on.
here,
Would you
I
consider?
still say you're just
Hold on. Let me
right.
land this plane. Would you consider yourself a dynamic individual, unique and balanced, with confidence and humility? Would you say you have a grounded, practical spirit that makes most people comfortable in your presence? Although you're very selective about who they let into your lives. Are you incredibly gracious friends who pride themselves on honesty and loyalty? Do you not sugarcoat things and you if it doesn't if you don't agree with the choice or behavior? I'm trying to remove certain words so it doesn't give it away. Yeah, so if that
You're
kind of person, hold on, let me finish, please let me finish. So if that associates with you, please say yes, it does.
and everyone's going to say yes. What you're doing is
Oh,
applying
hold
just.
on. I want to land this plane and then you can object to it. Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So a lot of people are saying yes. Some people are saying no. Okay. Out of everybody who says yes, how many of you are Capricorns?
And none of them are. And let me give you something. Are you done? Or are you still doing it?
Well, I haven't landed the plane. Okay. So everybody here is correlating to the specific thing.
Yep.
But we've shown that there is no causation to the fact that the stars have
Yep.
given them those
And that's why I
personality
didn't
traits.
believe in it either.
Okay,
And
so
that's
then
exactly
why do you
why I
believe in
didn't
it
believe
now?
in it either. Right. So what you're doing is applying, and that's what I used to say. You can apply those traits to anybody because a lot of them are just vague human traits. Okay. But there are certain things that are deep within a sign. Those are the ones you're not saying. There are certain things
Okay,
deep
like
within a
what?
sign.
Like what?
Okay. Did you say you're Capricorn, man?
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were a staunch atheist. Well, here's something. Symbolically, when you look at the wheel, the most, and I've said this for years because I've met a lot of Capricorns, the most atheist sign I have ever known, the most God hating and dismissive sign has always been Capricorn. And
Okay.
symbolically,
Okay. So
Capricorn is the
let's
first
test
in
that.
heaven.
Let's test that. Are there any atheists in the chat, or are there any former atheists in the chat? And if so, say yes and then give your sign.
Yeah, they don't have to be a Capricorn. I'm talking about a pattern, my friend. Out of all the people I've met, the ones that have always been the most
Just
staunch.
hold on. Let's see it.
But you're saying only one sign can have a trait. That's what you're saying.
So yes,
I'm saying certain
Aquarius. Deep
within
bro.
a
I
set
need you.
of
I
signs.
need you to stop talking. I'm gonna mute you. Right. Let's live this
Okay.
through because this was your claim. Yes, Sagittarius.
Well,
Yes, Aries. Yes, Libra. Yes, Gemini. I'm a Capricorn and love God. Yes, Gemini. I meant Cancerian. New Age deception, bro. Yes, Capricorn. The Capricorn is devil. Okay, now let's flip it. How many of you guys have been lifelong Christians and are Capricorn?
hey, you're really intelligent, and I've watched you a lot, but I've honestly never seen you like this. Like, you're usually so in depth with the way you argue, but you're taking vague. It's like I'm not sure if you're not understanding
Well,
me.
you said, hold on, you said to me right at the start that there's a deep aspect of what makes a Capricorn. And you said, and you used me as an example, being an atheist, and saying that Capricorn has a direct relation to atheism. And we're just testing that here in a small study group. In all fairness, it's a small studies group. Marta King
Yeah,
and Two
but
Bucks
you
says, does agnostic work?
out
Hold on.
the other half of what
Hold on. Let me finish. So it's a small studies group. And in this small study group, we're seeing zero correlation to what you're claiming here. Like, I don't see it
Yeah,
at
but
all.
okay. You took out the entire half of what I said.
What
I
did I take
said
out?
there are certain patterns within certain signs. And when you meet those signs, you can see that. But what you're saying is like only a Capricorn can be an atheist. That's like your point. And like I
No,
said,
that's
you're
not what I
usually
said.
nuancing
That's not
that.
even remotely close to what I was saying. No. You
Right.
said
That's
you said there's a strong correlation with atheism and being a Capricorn, but we just showed in the chat that there isn't. We've seen a whole bunch of people that are not Capricorn who were once atheists, and we've seen a whole
you
people who are
don't
like,
have to be.
hold
You don't have
on. Please let me finish. my sentences. And then we've seen a whole bunch of people who are lifelong Christians who are never or who are Capricorn. So I have no reason to believe that there's any correlation with Capricorns and atheism. Eric Barlow came in $2, says New Age spiritualism is old Gnosticism. You're not wrong. All right, go ahead.
Okay. There are certain traits, there are certain patterns when you meet certain signs. Okay. But what you're saying is that, or what you seem to be saying is that there are certain, that a sign is the owner of certain traits. And that's
No.
not true, because every
No.
human being,
Didn't say that.
every single human being has all traits. We all have those traits. There are certain
Again,
signs.
I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. There are certain signs that
Just kidding.
rhyme or
But-
relate
Funny,
more
you're
with
arguing.
traits.
Hold on. You're arguing something that I didn't say, and I say I didn't say that, and you said, "Okay, I'm sorry," and then you continue to argue something I didn't say.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to say that you're saying that. I meant to take that back. I'm just trying to make a point.
But I didn't make that point.
Right, but I'm just making the point that there are certain patterns within certain signs that they find easier to do. Do you understand? Everybody and anybody can be an atheist. What I'm saying is,
But you're saying there's a direct correlation. Your correlation was me. You said, "Hey, I'm a Capricorn," and then you made the claim that every Capricorn that you've met, or most of the atheists you've met, were Capricorns. That was your claim, and so then we just
listen, I
put this.
didn't
Hold
say
on,
most of the-
and then we just put this into the study group, and then we found that that doesn't correlate. There's no correlation here.
Listen, my friend, I didn't say most of the people I met that were atheists were Capricorn.
Yes, you did.
Like I said, usually a lot more nuance than this.
That
Well,
is what
I've
you
seen
said.
you argue with people, and I've seen you're good at it, but I've never seen you like grasping like this. Listen to me. What I said. What
Just
I
real quick.
said
Just real quick.
Capricorn.
Martin came in $2, says, "Do a study with Leos." All right, keep going, man.
I said that in my life, when I have met atheists that are not Capricorn, okay? And I'm not saying this is Capricorn exclusive. I'm saying that the most staunch, I don't want to say God hating, but dismissive that I've ever met, and some have been other signs. I'm saying that the most that I've met out of atheists have not been Capricorn, the most staunch, no way in hell ever going to do that, have been Capricorns. You understand? I'm not saying most atheists
Okay, well,
are Capricorn.
now you're changing the parameters, and we'll just take that exact same parameter and we'll apply it. Has anybody in the chat ever been one of very, very staunch atheist and was not a Capricorn?
You understand I'm talking about a pattern, right?
Well, we're trying to see if we see a pattern. If you were a staunch atheist as a Capricorn, tell us that too, please. Me, no. I'm going to make an absolute fool of you for this. Okay. Jack came in with $4.99. Astrology allows you to sit comfortably in a nuance and abandon your whack faith. Come to the Orthodox Church. Sagittarius was staunch. This guy says, "I don't know any Capricorn atheists. Never been an atheist. Don't know what a Capricorn is. No foolishness." Hold on, man. You're getting emotional. Ex-atheist here was Cancer. Host interrupted because he wants to dodge. Sure. Modern Brain came in $5, says, "So the gods of the galaxies have to align with the man-made Gregorian calendar." And
that's why it's by the seasons.
bro, I gotta mute you here soon. Gabriel came in with $5, says, "Even if 99% of Capricorns were of atheists, it's still just a correlation, not a causation. It's still fallacious and it's not helpful." Mark C came in and said, "Pretty damn atheist and Virgo." TC says, "Host is gaslighting." Redgar theory, nope. Move on. Call it a potato or rainbow. So yeah, I'm not seeing any reason here to believe that the most staunch atheists were Capricorn.
That's fine. I mean, it's not that I'm trying to convince you. It's that you were asking me these things, why I believe it.
That's not a why. You're just saying you do believe it. Why? Like, what is the actual reason to believe that information is true and not just something that you're associating?
Well, the thing is, unless you actually see these things, well, you have to know it to see it. Once you know it, you see it, you understand it's there, and God put it there. I'm not saying you need.
That's just you don't believe it because you have a closed mind or closed heart argument. That's not
Well,
an argument.
as a Christian, you don't see signs in your life.
I see Christian signs, but I never use that as an argument. That's a personal thing between me and my God. Brady came in 499, says, I would bet my life on life that another astrology proponent would have contradictory traits for the same signs. I'd bet that too. But yeah, so my signs and things that are given to me by God is personal, and I don't use that as argumentation for other people.
Okay, sure. But that's what I'm also saying, that astrology is personal. You see it's
No,
from
you're
God.
not. You're bringing it up as an argument.
No, you asked me, sir. You were
Okay.
asking me why I believe it. And as I tried to answer my side and what I believe, you started going in on it to where I had to
Mm-hmm.
defend myself. You see
Yeah.
what I'm
So
saying?
you're saying,
It's not
basically
that
you're
I'm
saying I
presenting
believe
it.
it because I believe it.
Right, but it's not like I was presenting any of it as an argument.
But so then you're saying you have no argument for it.
I'm saying I wasn't trying to argue, but you just blamed me for arguing.
But then why are you up here if you're not trying to argue?
I wasn't trying to argue the validity of astrology. It's something I was asking you about, why do Christians disbelieve it? Or say it's from the devil, stuff like that. I mean, but you kept nitpicking to where I have to answer. I have to answer.
But bro, this
You
is
said that
this is a debate
you,
platform where the topic is New Age spirituality is pretty whack, and now
okay.
you're upset that I'm showing that it's pretty whack.
No, it's not that I'm upset. It's that I've never seen you like this. Like when I brought up Christians see signs from God, especially as someone who believes in God, you see signs. And you said, yeah, that's personal, but that's not something I'd present to someone as an argument. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying the same thing, but you said that I was arguing it. You
So is your
understand?
argument that I've seen signs?
No, what I was saying about the signs thing is when you're asking about what's the point of astrology, well, just like somebody who believes in God, they can see signs, they can have coincidences, they all have a crazy story, and I believe half of them. They all have this story, they've all seen these signs. I think you said something one for yourself, but it's the same with astrology. It's something you see day in and day out. Sometimes you don't, sometimes a few days you don't, but it's day in and you see it a lot.
Okay, so you
Just
don't
like
have an
you see
argument.
signs from
All right,
God a lot.
is that what you're
Mhm.
saying? Modern Break came in
Okay.
$5, says I just wasted my super chats on someone who is not actually arguing, and Style Rail Working came in $5, says astrology is
Yeah,
just a
you know
religion
what?
of 13-year-old
You're
girls who
right.
read
I'm sorry about
magazines.
that. You're right about that, man. I came onto a debate channel. I apologize.
Okay, fair enough, man. Fair enough. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, but I do like watching you with the atheists.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate your time. God bless and good luck on your journey.
God bless.
I'm not too sure why he took that so personal. I felt like I was being fair, but yeah, he is, he's right. This is a debate platform. The goal is try to convince the person or the chat of your viewpoint, of your stance. Abby, would you mind entertaining the masses?
Not at all. And then we'll switch. Play some tunes, we'll get demonetized. That one was pretty rough. Felt bad. I did not use the brush sound. That was John. That's why it killed. I don't actually know what my sign is. I Google it sometimes. For fun when John and I are like looking at things for fun. And then I forget again. Let's see. But it's like personality traits is a thing. Like we did the Jordan Peterson personality trait thing and it was very accurate. What?
Has anybody ever noticed that the term gaslighting is now like changed to like what it originally meant, where it's like you try to convince somebody that they're crazy by telling them certain things. So it's like, oh no, I never hit you. You're just imagining that. That's what like gaslighting is. Has changed to this person disagrees with my viewpoint. So has anybody ever noticed that?
I'm a Pisces.
See, I didn't know she was a Pisces. I just learned something new. John, put some clothes on. No. Matter of fact, I'm going to take my clothes off now. Every time I sit down, I take my pants off. That way no one can see it. No one knows. You're a pro gaslighter, you would know. Yeah, so I disagree with you, so therefore I'm gaslighting. Christian Killian came in $5. Who will put your faith in the pose of the stars or the one who put them there? I'm sure that was very deep. But I don't understand it. So I'll just assume I'm the idiot here. Narcissist humor, he. So just give me a definition of a narcissist. Just curious. Just curious. While we're here, we'll take some of my criticisms and see if it's true. Someone who can't be wrong. That's the definition of a narcissist. So math is narcissistic. I guess you did say someone. Satisfaction Real 499. Timothy Alberino says the constellations are just a clock used to track the change of age. That is all. Based. No empathy, self-serving. Oh, maybe I'm a narcissist. Here's the thing. Even if I was a narcissist, let's do it. I'm a narcissist. 2 + 2 is 4. Because I said 2 + 2 is 4 and I'm a narcissist, does that make 2 + 2 not 4? Just curious. Is that how it works? Someone who never apologizes. John always apologizes. I mean, he's Canadian. Yeah, sorry, bro. My bad. But let's just do it. Let's because people just call you a narcissist and just kind of move on. You're a narcissist. I don't have to listen to. I want an answer to that question. I'm a narcissist, right? I'll own it. We'll do Than's razor here. I'm a narcissist. 2 + 2 is 4. Does that make 2 + 2 not 4? Because I'm a narcissist. Narcissist is clinical. It's often used too many times. Yeah, for somebody who has an ego. Why is nobody answering that question? Yes, John. Hold on. Yes, John. That's how it works. 2 + 2 does not equal 4 anymore. No, it inflates your narcissistic ego. Okay, phenomenal. So just because I'm a narcissist, I'm going to bring up a guest in a minute. I got to wait for Abby to get back. Just because I'm a narcissist doesn't mean I'm wrong. I just want to be clear there. So what you guys are saying is I'm still right. I'm still correct in everything I say, but you don't like me, so I'm a narcissist. Is that the conclusion that we're coming to? I just want to be clear. I want to figure this out. I want to figure it out. Christmas came first, pagan holiday came after, but people claim to pay. Yep, that's true. No, but it gives you less credibility. Why? Why would it give you less credibility? What changes? If one is a narcissist and they say 2 + 2 is 4, why is that less credible? Now you manipulate people with facts and lie and stats. Facts and lie and stats? All narcissists are just about themselves. Even if that was the case, even if the only reason I was doing this was for myself, does it make everything that I'm saying false? Because that would be the genetic fallacy. Let's say I'm a psychopath narcissist that's only here for the money. That's the only reason I do this, is for the money. Does that mean my arguments are false? No. That would be an ad hominem. I love the non-medical degree diagnosis based, super based. If you're a narcissist, you can only try to influence and change facts, but not change them. Also based. Also based. No, a narcissist is someone who can't handle being wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're always wrong. Super based. Super based. Got it. Understood. The conclusion that we've reached here today is John is a narcissist, but everything he says is still correct. Got it. Let's move on to the next guest now that Abby's back.
I feel like I missed a lot.
Well, just a few people call me a narcissist, and I'm like, let's dive into this and figure out what it is. It's fun. Toad, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro, give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right, man, New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Yeah, I saw on your caption it says New Age spirituality is just stolen Christianity,
Yeah, that's
and I
that's
was
that's
wondering.
not the that's not the actual topic. That's just the title to get people. It's a clickbait title. The topic is spirituality is pretty whack. Perenum came in $5. Says I'm out, Big John. Catch you Friday and God bless. See you, Perenum. Thank you for hanging out today, and we will see you on Friday. And Brady came in with $4.99. Funny thing is that the seasons and stars are contingent and always changing, so it could be objectively true. It holds its identity anyways. All right, sir. Sorry. Go ahead. Cut you off.
Okay, so you don't believe New Age spirituality is just stolen Christianity? Then that was just something you made up
Well, no,
to get
I think a
people.
lot of it is, but obviously there's certain aspects of New Age spirituality that isn't directly stolen from Christianity, like tarot cards. So yeah,
But you realize, like, a lot of Christianity was influenced by previous religions and
okay. Prove that.
different groups of people.
Prove that.
Prove it. I mean, Judaism isn't Christianity from Judaism. It's not where it originally
Well,
came from.
yeah, the continuation of a religion isn't being influenced by a religion.
But it's a different religion.
We're the
It's not
continuation
a
of that religion.
continuation.
It is a
It was never.
continuation.
It was never Christianity. It would have been
So
Judaism, and then
Christianity is a
transformed.
continuation of Judaism. Judaism is still remains because they refuse to accept the Messiah that came. It's a
Okay,
continuation.
so you
Yeah.
believe everything in the Torah then? That happened in the Torah, basically.
Yes.
If you're saying, okay. So you believe like God was right and enslaving people in the Torah,
What does
like
this
that
have to
weren't,
do with New Age spirituality?
because you said it was stolen from Christianity. And I'm saying
But what
Christianity.
is God enslaving people have to do with anything that we're talking about? I'll just concede. Yes, God enslaved people. He's a horrible, meanie monster. Now what?
And then you believe that was right, and you believe that's
Yeah,
true
yeah.
because
So
that's part
it
of the
was wrong. God
originality.
shouldn't have done it. He's a big bad guy. All right. So how does that prove that New Age
Okay.
spirituality isn't just bootleg
Okay, that's fine.
Christianity?
That's all I wanted to know for that question. But yeah, so you said about manifesting things as New Age spirituality.
Yeah.
And by manifesting, do you mean like like I'd be creating my reality if I'm using tarot cards and I believe I don't use tarot cards personally, but I'm just saying if I believe what's in the cards and then that influences my reality, would I be creating my reality because I believe in what those cards say?
Well, it depends on the outcome, right? If you're just simply saying that reading the cards has a causal effect on me because I've now altered my own life in a trajectory that's going to lead to what those cards predicted, then of course there is definitely priming. Priming does happen, but that has nothing to do with spirituality. That's psychology.
Well, isn't that what you're doing with the Bible too? You're believing things in the Bible based on your own beliefs and your own upbringing. So aren't people that believe in tarot
So
cards
so
doing something in a similar
here's the
way?
thing. No, I'm not. But even if I was, that's just whataboutism.
No, that's you're not answering my question.
I
It's
said
not
no. I
whataboutism
said no,
because
but I said so. I
no,
did
it's not
answer your question.
whataboutism
Hold on,
because
hold
I
on, hold
said
on, hold on, hold on,
no.
hold on,
Okay, okay, go ahead.
hold on. You said I didn't answer your question. I did answer your question. I said no, we don't do that. But even if we did, it's just whataboutism. You're saying, yeah, we do this thing, but so do you guys, so it's okay. No, that would just mean both things are whack.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're still
So
admitting that
so
spirituality is whack.
so so you're saying Christianity's whack too? Because I
That's
just
not what
used
I'm
the same
saying.
logic.
That's not what I'm saying.
I just used the same logic against you though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I said
How
if
does
you
how
if
does
I
how
see these
does
cards
okay,
laid out and I believe what they say, and you
that,
read the Bible and you believe what it says,
that's not what I said.
yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
That's exactly what you said.
No, it isn't. Not
And you
even
said it's
remotely close to what I
whataboutism, and
said.
you said
That's a straw
they're
man.
both whatabout.
All right,
Yeah,
so
you said they're both whataboutism.
let me explain to you what I said again, right? It's not I believe it. I said it's priming. Do you know what the difference is?
You don't believe what? What specifically are you talking about?
With the tarot cards, I didn't say that you believe it. I said you're priming. Do you know what the difference is?
Explain.
Okay, so then when you made your whole argument that I said that you believe it, you were incorrect, right?
I'm saying if I read these cards and I believe it, and you read the Bible and you believe it,
Yeah, that wasn't my
are you
argument.
are you priming yourself then when you're reading the
No,
Bible?
no.
What's the difference?
Because you're saying that Christianity is the reason we believe it is because of the causal outcome. We don't believe it because of causal outcomes. That's the symmetry breaker. You're saying you believe tarot cards because of causal outcomes.
I'm saying like not tarot
Can you
cards,
just
not a tarot
can you
reading
just
specifically.
hold on before you say what I'm saying. Just repeat what I said in a steel man so I know you understood it.
You're saying in regards to tarot cards
Mhm.
that it's the outcome that people are believing.
No. All right,
So
man.
it's like
This is not a
you're
good faith.
saying
This is not a good faith conversation, but I appreciate you
you
coming up. I'm gonna
you're
move on to the
saying
next person.
everything.
God bless.
You're saying
I don't know if he was intoxicated or not. Let's move on to the next guest. Mm-hmm. Lucas, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, I can hear you. How old are you? All right, bro. Just 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right, man. New age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong when to taco.
I'm kind of confused. What's the deal with the taco? Sorry.
Well, a
I'm
taco is an
actually
actual. So when people say prove Christianity false, I'll give you $1,000. I'm probably not going to give you $1,000, but I can tangibly buy you a
yeah.
taco.
Okay. I actually have some questions for you. I ended up on, I don't know how YouTube started feeding me this stuff. My questions to you is, what does this serve? What is the drilling holes in other people's spirituality and faith serve? Because I've come across atheists saying, prove me that God is, it doesn't, or prove that God exists. And now I've come across you and another one before.
Yeah. So
What
the
is,
goal of it is people seeking truth, and we seek truth through dialogue, right? Through the imparting of information to one another, and so then we can conclude what is the actual properties of the universe and why we are here.
okay, what is New Age spirituality?
Tarot cards, manifestation, crystals. I am God. I am the universe. Basically, as someone said earlier, modern day Gnosticism.
Okay. Um, so I really hadn't thought too much through it other than asking a few questions. Sorry.
No, you're good, bro.
I'm surrounded by exactly what you talked about right now, but that's because my wife is into this stuff.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I lean more in the opposite direction. Um, anyways, what? So, what is spirituality?
I think it's something that's more transcendent, something that transcends naturalism into the spiritual realm, so to speak.
So, a feeling.
No, no, I wouldn't say it's a feeling. I'd say like spirituality is a belief of something that actually exists ontologically, past how we understand the natural universe.
What is God?
What is God?
Yeah, what would God be then?
We would say like God is existence in itself.
So, could you help me define God, religion, and spirituality?
God, religion, and well, God, right? It depends. The Christian version of God is existence. God is spirit, right? That's what God is. He is the omnis, the omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. Wait, hold on. No, that was omniscient. Why am I forgetting? Omniscient, omnipotent, and all loving. Anyway, so that's the properties of God. Religion is the practice of worshiping a god or godlike figure, and then spirituality is just nonsense.
Okay, from my understanding of what spirituality is, that is that would be feeling the presence of God or feeling something greater than you.
No,
Yeah, that
I think there's spiritual aspects of things, but I'm talking like specifically in the category of New Age spirituality. I think that is a specific practice. Uh, Being spiritual, right, is being connected to the spirit realm.
okay. So you're defining them as what my wife calls witchy pagan stuff is New Age spirituality.
Yeah, that stuff is nonsense.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Then why call it New Age when it's been around for longer than Christianity or Judaism?
It's not, it hasn't been.
How so?
Well, if Christianity and Judaism is true, we go back to the beginning of time.
So before Abraham, there was other gods, right? People believed in other shit, right?
People believed things for a long plethora of time. Yeah, sure.
When God handed down the law, he spoke about witchcraft. He spoke about readings and seeing things. He spoke about not dining with the dead, in the sense of ghosts and spirits and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Why would he need to mention this if it wasn't existent in the first place?
No one said it wasn't existent.
But isn't that what you just said, that it didn't exist before Christianity?
Correct. You're not talking about the start of Christianity. You're talking about when the Mosaic Law was given.
So when did Christianity start then?
Beginning of time.
Then when did people start believing in it?
Well, we don't know the exact time period when God started to reveal his nature to his creation. Obviously, he revealed himself to Adam and Eve, so that would be the very first belief set. And that would have translated down to Adam and Eve's ancestors. And then their ancestors started trailing off and started believing in other things. And then God came back to Abram and revealed himself and said, hey, this is what your ancestors did, but I'm actually the true God.
So does Judaism fall under the category of Christianity then?
We are a continuation of Judaism.
I understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
isn't Judaism... So from my understanding, because I don't know very much of Christianity, I'm still reading the Old Testament. I'm at Kings 2. Took me a while to get here.
Mm-hmm.
Good books. I also got someone telling me that I need to read Sermon on the Mount. That's a pretty good reading too.
Sean Bessity
So
came
for
in, made a
mine-
good point, and said Judaism is proto-Christianity.
What would that be? What does
It's
that mean?
to create and be the start of Christianity. So like all Judaism, right, is the start in building up to what Christianity is. So we are a continuation of Judaism, right? We're not a separation. We're not a different. We're not a new religion. We're the continuation of it. They didn't continue on. They remained in the old faith.
Then what are they? If they're
They're-
remaining in the old faith, what are they then?
I guess you could call them a heretic.
Okay. Why?
Because they're committing heresy. They're denying God's nature.
But if Jesus came not to destroy the old laws,
This has nothing to do with law.
then no. But if Jesus came to not destroy everything that everyone was believing in at the time, how does that
Well, he did.
Gesundheit?
He did to bring. He did come
Thank
to
you.
bring in the new kingdom. That was the goal, and then the Jews rejected him. This is what he does at the parable of the wedding feast. He says they're going to reject me, so I will cast them out, and I'll invite everybody else in. These are the Gentiles.
So what happens then to? I guess I'm confused because I really had no goal in coming in here other than asking a few questions, man.
You're good, bro. You don't have to stick around, but if you have more questions, I'm here.
Yeah, I have a few questions about because I have a friend who's an apologist. He's Protestant. His goal is to prove that Christianity exists. You know, that everything that's been told existed, it happened, factual. So he goes into archaeological stuff all the time. How do you feel if if, for example, none of it happened?
If none of it happened, then it wouldn't be true.
No, that's not my question. How would you feel if none of it happened?
I don't know. I have no clue.
So my question is, does it really matter?
Yes.
If the whole goal, well, I understand the end goal, which is to come to heaven, and I really don't know what happens after that, but I live currently in the philosophy of I need to be a good person right now.
Off what standard?
Christian standards, I guess. I mean,
So then be a Christian.
so, you know the St. Francis prayer?
No.
So the St. Francis prayer basically takes what the Sermon on the Mount, what Jesus said on the Sermon on the Mount, of how we need to be towards others,
Mm-hmm.
and he puts it into a lot fewer words and tells that to and says that in prayer and asks God. So God, please make me. I
Right.
forget the exact words.
Yeah, but
right now.
why you say you want to be a good person based off the Christian standards, so just be a Christian? Why are you denying Christianity?
I don't like Jesus.
You don't like Jesus?
Why would I like Jesus?
That's a first. I've never heard anybody, even atheists, say they don't like. What is it about Jesus you don't like?
Well, I am a selfish, self-centered person,
Uh-huh.
and I don't like Jesus because I am not Jesus.
You don't like Jesus because you're not Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Well, why are we praising Jesus and not me right now?
Because Jesus has no blemish and he's perfect.
Why couldn't I be him?
Because you have blemish and you're not perfect.
Yeah.
But why is that a
But why
reason to
couldn't
hate him?
it's not necessarily hate, it's more jealousy and envy, I guess.
So you're jealous that you're not God.
So, from my understanding of Jesus, Jesus is the Son of God. Now, I know that people mix,
He's God.
put them together as one Jesus, God, and the Holy Spirit is one. I can't wrap my head around that.
It's Father,
a
Son,
little too
Holy
complex
Spirit.
for me.
Not that complex. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. 3 persons that share in one nature. The nature is God. So you're mad. You're mad that you're not God. That's what you're saying.
No, not God, Jesus.
Jesus is God. Martin came in with $2, says, where'd that come from? Oof.
What come from?
I'm just reading super chats, my friend.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so growing up, I was raised Latter-day Saints. My mother was Jewish, and a combination of Latter-day Saints and New Age spirituality, as you call it, right? So I grew up in a mixture of a good bunch, along with the Protestant church, I believe it's called, because that's what was around me growing up.
Okay.
my understanding of Jesus Christ is that there's three entities that function as one entity.
No, that's a contradiction. Three
What
entities
is that?
can't operate as one entity, because that you cannot be three in one at the same time as an entity. Style Railworking came and said, they hate me because they ate me, Jesus. And then Eric Barlow came in and said, John 20:28. Thomas replied to him, Jesus, my Lord and my God. Yeah, so we say three persons. That is one entity. Right? Then there's no contradictions. You can't have three be one.
Isn't that the same though?
No, a person is not an entity. A person is an individual member of a rational kind. An entity is your state of being in nature.
So three people with the same goal and mindset, basically.
Three persons that share the nature that is God. So we have God the Father, who is a say. He is the source of all things. And we have Jesus and the Holy Spirit, who spring forth. Please, guys, don't get mad about the Floquay thing. I don't want to argue about that. But they spring forth from God, right, from the Father, eternally, because they're out of time. And they share in the same nature. And so therefore they are all God. They are all the same being, but they are not the same person. They are distinct from each other. Jake or Jack, I can't tell. A base level of understanding is I am Jake. There we go. I'm a father and a brother and a son at the same time. I don't know if I agree with that analogy, but
I still don't understand it.
okay.
That's the thing that's always confused me is the whole
all right.
Holy Trinity thing.
The only analogy that I'll use, the only one I think that works, is if you close your eyes and you envision yourself, you have an image of who you are. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. God, when he does that, he does it perfectly. You want to do it perfectly. You get things wrong. Steph came in 6'9". Genuine question. How many tacos have been given out so far? Or are you always right and the tacos are a lie? I'm always right, but the tacos are the truth. I'm just undefeated. So God, as he reflects upon his nature and who he is, he has an image, right? An image in his mind. And God is mind. God doesn't have body. So as he has that image in his mind, that image is not distinct because God doesn't have body. It shares in the body. That image is a perfect representation of him. This is God's word, right? His intellect. This would be Jesus Christ. So as God reflects upon himself, he has a perfect actual representation of who he is. And that's the word, that's the intellect. This is Jesus Christ. This makes it distinct from him. Not the exact same person as him, but still shares in the same nature. Just like if you have an image of who you are, right? It's not you, but it's an exact representation of who you are and sharing in that exact same nature. The love between the two is the Holy Spirit that eternally grows between them.
Why can you understand that and not me?
I'm based. I'm just joking. What is it that you're getting lost in?
So God, so let's say God is a person, and that person imagines himself as something.
I wouldn't say God is a person. God is a nature.
No. Example, right? If God was a person and that person closed his eyes, he'd be imagining himself as Jesus.
Not quite. So real quick, Woodchop came in with $5, says, do you consider denominations of Christianity that don't take all the miracles literally except the resurrection to be New Age spirituality? No, as long as they hold to like a Nicene Creed, I wouldn't call them New Age. No, so what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be Jesus. Jesus is that person, right? But I'm just saying, if you close your eyes right now and you envision who you are, that's not you, but it's an exact representation of who you are, and it's still in your nature. Another way to think of this is have you ever had a dream?
Yeah, ages ago.
Okay, in that dream, or any dream you've ever had, have you ever talked to somebody in that dream?
Yeah.
Okay, is that person you're talking to, is that you?
No.
No, but it's still in your mind. So would it have the same nature that is you?
That I don't know. Wouldn't it take on the characteristics of what I think that person is?
Well, we're talking about like actual natures, what it's metaphysically made up of. It has no distinguishing factors between you and it because it's in your mind and you are in your mind and your mind is your mind. And technically, your mind derives this image. So, for all intents and purposes, that other person that is not you, is your same nature. So, it's not the same person, but it's the exact same nature. Did you ever watch the TV show Moon Knight?
No.
Watch it. I'd say, and this would be like a decent metaphor because in the TV show Moon Knight, you have this singular nature that I forget his name, Moon Knight, and with that singular nature, Moon Knight, there are three persons that all share in his nature and in his mind. They are not each other, but at the same time, they are each other. You still there?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm just thinking. I'm trying to think of other examples. I'm kind of getting to what you're saying. So it's.
Well, while you're thinking, the real deal came in $5, says one being, God, three persons. A rock has being because it exists. A rock is not a person. Human beings are one person per being. God is simply three persons per being. I get what he's saying, yeah.
Yeah, I had just recently wrapped my head around the hive mind concept that someone gave to me not too long ago. Basically, in ant colony, they all serve one purpose, but they're all separate entities that do their own thing.
Well,
to achieve the
yeah,
same
I
goal.
don't think that's analogous because they're literally different entities. In this one, the three persons are one entity. Just like you have a conscious and subconscious, it's one entity, but there's an aspect of you can say that your subconscious is a different person.
But if they're all one thing, how is it that this is way above my pay grade, man? I'm sorry, but I do appreciate you teaching me this stuff.
No problem, man. It's the we're getting into like the philosophy of mind. What makes you you, and it can get very convoluted. But yeah, I'd say the best way to think about it is the dream, right? Because in your dream there are multiple persons, but you all share the same nature. So just like with God, we have the mind of God, right? And that's what God is. God is mind to a certain aspect, and in that mind of God, there are three persons.
Okay, so I think I'm understanding things. So there's this big, super powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
We name him God,
Okay.
and inside God's mind, there's God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
I'd say Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, because God is that mind, right? And so there's different views of this, different types of Trinitarian views. What I'm giving you right now is monarchical Trinitarianism. And you can look at other views if you want, but I think this is just the simplest one to comprehend. The Father is God. The Father is the mind. But in that mind, there are the two other persons, which are Jesus and the Holy Spirit. They are distinct because they are not the same person, but they still share all the properties that is God because they are in the mind of God.
Okay. I think I got that. Thanks.
No problem.
But yeah, so if back to the part where my issue with Jesus is, that's exactly that. If God can come up with Jesus, why didn't he come up with me and I'm Jesus and the other way around?
That's because Jesus is God, and you'll never achieve the standard of God. That's the point.
Yeah, but why couldn't it be the other way around?
Well, because then you would be God.
No, God would have thought of me, and I would be the thing in his mind.
Yeah, then you would have been God.
No, well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Jesus is not created, right? He doesn't. There's not a point where the Father is not thinking of Jesus, then is thinking of Jesus. Like, you're always reflecting on who you are, and that is Jesus. That's an eternal thing.
So God is the creator of everything. Before anything else, there was just God, right?
Yeah, yeah, we'll say yes for the sake of this conversation.
Then God created everything else. Jesus, the Holy Spirit, then the world,
No,
universes, all the other
no.
crap there.
Jesus is not created. So Jesus has
Why
always
why
existed.
not?
Jesus always existed because God is always reflecting on who he is. There's never a point where he's not reflecting on who he is.
Now we're getting confusing again, man.
Yeah, so is there ever a point where you don't know who you are? Except for like when
There
you're
has
sleeping,
been, yeah.
obviously.
There has been, yeah.
There's times in your life where you're just completely brain dead.
Yeah, there has been times, yeah.
When?
It's been a few years, man, but it has happened.
Where your brain literally, like, not figuratively, not some sort of like I'm just disassociated with the world, like you're actually brain dead.
No, that hasn't happened.
Okay,
Brain
so
dead, no.
right, so you always have this concept of self, yes? You're always aware
What
that
would
you
that
exist,
be?
but you're
Yeah,
always
yes. The awareness that I
okay.
exist, yes.
Right. So God is always aware of his existence. And by being aware of his existence, he's reflecting upon himself. And that reflection is Jesus. So there's never a point where God is not aware of who he is. And he's also perfect without flaws. So there never will be a point where he disassociates or anything like that. Yoel came in with $2, says, love your hair, man. God bless. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I grew it myself.
What did you call? What did you call him?
Yoel. Joel.
It would be Yol over here. In Scandinavia, it'd be Yol.
See, I'm not wrong.
Again, never wrong. So, if it's that reflecting upon himself thing that I don't understand. Like, so when God looks in the mirror, that's Jesus.
No, it's not a visual representation. It's the actual representation. Jesus is the image of the invisible God, right? Just like in your mind, you have an image of who you are, and that's always there. That never vanishes. But God exists forever and is eternal, and because he existed and is eternal, his reflection of who he is also exists and is eternal and doesn't become into existence, because there's never a point where God cannot reflect upon himself.
But wasn't Jesus flawed?
The human body had flaws, but the person of Jesus, no.
This gets really confusing, man. This is the part where Christianity loses me in the whole Trinity thing. My understanding is that Jesus was sent down to earth to save everyone, right? As
Sure.
a sacrifice. And God, the big guy, he was up there looking down, while Jesus was down here as a separate entity.
No, there's the body. The flesh is a separate entity, not the person. Again, you're conflating nature with personhood. Those are not the same.
Then what is nature?
Nature is your state of being, right? Or not your state of being is like a genos, right? And God wouldn't have a genos. So like my nature is I have hands, fingers, nose, eyes, eyebrows, bipedal. This is my nature, but it's not my personhood. Because if my soul leaves my body, right, I'm still me. I still have the person of Jonathan. I just no longer have the body that was attached to it.
Okay, some more questions. Did you grow up with this?
Nope.
Back to my previous question. How did you understand this?
Through study.
What would you recommend studying then to grasp
Uh,
this concept of
so
three in one thing?
you can read On the Trinity by, I forget his name. See if it Saint Augustine on the Trinity. So Augustine of Hippo. But the problem is, you know, it's going to be hard to just, you'll have to read it a couple times because reading old church fathers can be difficult if you haven't done it. Then you can also, I don't agree with everything that Thomas Aquinas does, but I think his model of the Trinity is pretty good. So you could read chapter 3, I think it is, of the short Summa. I might be wrong on it. It might be 6. But yeah, he has a chapter specifically on the nature of the Trinity and how it works. So those would be 2 areas that I would send you to.
Let me just write this down. Short Summa.
SUMA.
Chapter 3.
I think so. I could be wrong about that, but if you look at obviously the
Okay.
where it tells you
And
the
the other
chapters are,
one
you'll find it.
was Saint
Saint Augustine.
Augustine. Saint Augustine, what?
On the Trinity.
On the Trinity.
While you do it, have Google open so you can look up what certain words mean.
Yeah, probably gonna need that. Thanks. Yeah, I'm forever searching for something, and thought I'd start from the beginning and work my way forward.
I would say that if you're genuinely searching, understanding the Trinity is not like my wife back here is a Christian, been a Christian her whole life. She'll tell you she never understood the Trinity the way I understand the Trinity for like a long time, and she is still a good, faithful Christian. It's not a necessary thing. So I would say that one of the things that you do is, if you're genuinely searching, is live in the faith for a time. This is the Pascal's wager, is that if you're on the edge of the fence, go live in the faith and see what comes from it and see how God interacts in your life. And if it's true and it's real, God will reveal that to you if you do it genuinely. So like live your life the way the Sermon on the Mount says in Matthew 6. And you live that genuinely. I don't see why God wouldn't reveal himself to you if you're genuinely seeking him out. And through that revelation, if you truly desire to seek out the nature of the Trinity, God will work with you in that process until you understand it.
Yeah. Well, I do plan on trying on living the best of my abilities of what was taught on the Sermon on the Mount. I believe that there's a lot of universal teachings in that.
But there's an aspect, not just living by it, because Jesus says, if you abide in me, I will abide by you. And anything you ask in his name, or ask anything you ask the Father in his name, he will give to you. So there's a certain aspect to it. You have to be in prayer and you have to ask for these revelations. You can't just live your life as by what you think is the standard of a good person. Okay, cool. Yeah, I say keep doing that.
I already pray to God every day, asking for the ability to be the best person that I can be, not in so few words, to everyone around me.
But have you prayed? But have you prayed and asked for revelation?
What would revelation be?
The truth of his nature.
Nah.
Why not?
I don't think I'd understand it anyways.
You don't think that the God of the universe couldn't help you understand?
No, I think it could. I think I'd be too stubborn to listen.
You don't think that the God of the universe could soften your heart?
I think he is slowly.
Okay. So I'd say do that. Pray. Stop being stubborn and ask for that revelation. That's the first step to being humble enough to say that you need him.
About 3 years ago, I couldn't say the word God without being pissed off. So I think it works slowly.
Would it be okay if I prayed for you?
Go ahead, man. I could use all the prayers. All the prayers. I try not to ask for myself unless it benefits others.
Lord, thank you for
So
this day, and thank you for this conversation. Thank you for what you've provided. Thank you for this opportunity to share this gospel. Lord, I ask that you open Lucas's heart to the nature of who you are, and so that he can not just move to be a better person, but instead be in relationship with you and get to know you. Lord, there is nothing without the knowledge of who you are and being in that relationship with you. We could be the best person in the world, but without you, it's just pointless. It's dirty rags. So Lucas, I ask that you help Lucas come to that knowledge, come to the understanding. It seems like he's seeking you. You have the power to do so. So we ask that you do it. And we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. All right, Lucas, I wish you good luck on your journey. Keep me updated. And I hope to hear from you again in the future.
well, I'll keep an eye on you.
All right, man. God bless.
See you later, man. You too.
Testing. The text asks if we accept crypto as donations.
No.
I don't even understand crypto, to be honest.
Modern Brain came in $5. Says W for John being patient and teaching guest based. Not W for John, W for God. W is for God for putting us in that opportunity and allowing the Holy Spirit to do the work that the Holy Spirit does. For all glory goes to God. No glory goes to me. All glory to God. W for the guest. Guys, I ask that you pray for Lucas, that you keep him in your prayers, that he comes to knowledge of who Christ is. And yeah. You better accept crypto. I don't accept crypto. I don't have, it's too much of a hassle to transfer everything over back and forth from crypto. And yeah, I dabbled crypto a little bit once, but I was like, man, this is a headache and it's not worth it. Not worth it. I'll stick with good old fashioned monopoly money. What is Steve saying? I need to quit using this talk to type. It gets so much wrong. Steve, you just get everything wrong. Just accept that. Aaron, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro, just give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you on. All right, man, New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
So I largely agree with you on New Age stuff. I am a Christian too.
Another W.
Yes. I think the only thing I would contest is that I wouldn't say it's whack. I'd say it's more demonic.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think demons work on people or could work on people through things like tarot cards and crystals and whatever else?
I think they could. Doesn't mean they do.
Okay, well, I've heard some interesting testimonies from people who have dabbled in that stuff and that show like very demonic encounters.
Sure. But
So,
I'm
that's-
not particularly interested in this conversation. I hope you don't take that as a shot. But if you want to think it's demonic, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there anything else though?
No, I just wanted to just kind of look at it at that angle.
Sure. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you coming up. God bless.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't really mess around with like tarot cards or that kind of thing.
No,
You know?
even a best case scenario, it's idolatry.
Mm-hmm.
So either way, it's a sin, even if it's not demonic. And anything that, I guess you can make the argument that anything is not of God is of Satan and is demonic by that standard.
Crystals, I think, are just like a waste of time and money.
Shiny.
Because they think that if you're near them, they'll like do different things for you, right?
I have no clue.
It's kind of like essential oils.
No clue. A demon for $1 at the dollar store. I get what he's saying because you could buy tarot cards at a dollar store. Mm-hmm. Moxie, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, man. Give me 2 seconds and I'll bring you in. All right. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco. Moxie, you muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. I thought you guys were talking to someone else. Sorry.
No, I'm talking to you.
Sure. I'm here to talk about your views on abortion. Do you have time?
It's not today's topic.
Oh, sorry. I just saw that there's a lighting of abortion is wacky, and I thought that was the topic. Or at
No, it's
least,
just my
one of the
generic
possible
background.
topics.
It's my generic background that just kind of flips around.
Sure. When are you able to have that conversation about abortion? At least within
Usually,
your schedule?
usually Wednesdays, just not this Wednesday.
Okay. I'll talk to you then.
All right, man. God bless. I don't have the soul for it today. I don't have the soul to hear about why it's okay to unalive a child. Oh, maybe I should have. We're out of people in that queue.
No. Not today.
Not today.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, I know that song.
Okay. Hello,
Hello?
how are you? Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Oh, I'm 19.
All right, bro. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
So I do this practice, right? And it makes me feel very good. So how can you say it's whack?
Yeah, because you could take like Schmeroin, and that would make you feel really good, but still pretty whack.
But it's actually backed by science.
Schmeroin?
No, the practice that I do.
What's your practice?
Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya.
Gesundheit.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called Shambhavi Mahamudra Kriya.
What the world?
Why you guys are saying you can't hear him? He's stupid loud for me. What do you mean you guys can't hear him? Do you mind jumping out, jump back in?
Oh yeah.
On the shorts? They can hear him on the main.
They can't hear him on TikTok.
Oh.
TikTok's doing a
What
thing.
did he say? Shama via.
Shamalama Sama human. What I gotta wait? Shamalama Sama human. What I gotta get through to you? I'm superhuman.
Can.
It's
right.
Shambhavi Mahamudra
Okay.
Kriya.
Jack, can you hear him now?
Shambhavi. Oh, I found it.
You guys, so everybody on TikTok can't hear you, but everybody on YouTube can. What's going on with that?
Oh. It's like breath work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe
That's
it
not.
does work.
That's not New Age.
Yeah.
That's not New Age?
No.
That's just like a good physiological practice.
It's like doing push-ups.
Well, it's like it's like in the community, the spiritual community. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Well, yeah, but the correlation isn't causation. That doesn't mean it's a spiritual practice or it has actual divine properties or powers. It just means that you breathe in a certain way. It has a physiological effect on your body. I'm perfectly okay with that. Just like how yoga has a physiological effect on your body, but the spiritual
Yeah.
aspects about yoga I wouldn't agree with.
Okay, well, thanks for letting me on.
No problem, bro. God bless.
Bye.
Yeah, well, you on TikTok. If you guys watched it on YouTube, you wouldn't have a problem. Just saying. Jimmy Space came in with $6.99. Stay strong, folks. God bless you guys. You're doing great work. Thank you so much. What is that? Hold on. I've got to look up something real quick.
Parody Bear says, I walk pretty well sometimes.
What?
I think they're talking about like good practices. Like walking, going for a walk. I don't know. Maybe
Good posture.
Maybe I misread that.
Okay, hold on. He believes in... Why? This joke, by the time I find it, the joke's going to be gone. Yeah, here it is. He's a summa luma duma luma. You assuming I'm a human. What I got to get it through to you. I'm superhuman. That's what he is. That took too long for that joke, and that was not worth it at the end.
No, it was not.
No. Salutations. Salutations. Hello. Greeting. Just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Dude, like, it's been doing wonders on me and my family. Like, how is it whack?
Because there's no basis for it actually being true, inductive or deductively.
I don't know. Does personal experience count?
Does personal experience count? Well, it depends on the outcome of personal experience.
Well, I mean, would personal experience count
Oh,
for
you're
Christianity?
dude, you're just obviously trolling. Come on.
Dude, I saluted you. Now you gotta salutations me, and
You're,
you're
you're
gonna tell
obvious,
me
yeah, but you're obviously trolling.
no. You gotta respect the grind, dude. just because I'm on this new type shite.
And then he just left. I didn't even kick him. He
What
just
a
left on his
guy.
own. He left on his own. I guarantee you, he's depressed.
Oh, so sad.
I guarantee you.
Look,
What?
can you see that? There.
This?
Yeah.
Testing the text with Fresh Bueller sent 5 Big John Steel gift memberships. Thank you guys so much. Who gets the memberships? That's the thing. Like you send in.
It says Brady Harvey.
Brady got it.
Nate,
Nate got it.
Jake,
Jake got it.
Elias.
Elias?
Yeah.
So do they pick or is it random?
It must be random.
Like,
I don't know.
is it like throwing the dice or do you guys get to pick who gets the memberships? Which reminds me, guys, again, we will be revamping the Patreon this weekend to offer more content for you guys. We're going to paywall Christianity. We're going to put the truth of the gospel behind a monthly subscription. So if you want that truth of the gospel, make sure that you go subscribe to my Patreon. Link is in the bio.
They're saying it's random.
Oh, it is random. It's pseudo random. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Very good. How are you? And I'm 33.
All right, man. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Yeah, so I think I am definitely going to win a taco.
Okay.
I'll give it to the homeless because I'm not into unhealthy foods. But I'll tell you what.
Hold on. Pause. That you just crossed the line. What's unhealthy about a taco?
The sauce and the wrap around corn or flour, both are unhealthy. Neither of them. Processed foods, not particularly good.
I think you know what is worse? Not having any food.
I agree.
Flour isn't unhealthy, and you don't have to use processed foods for tacos.
So that's what I said. I'll give it to the homeless. So I'm happy to give it to the people.
But you said because it's not healthy, and like
I don't think it's healthy enough.
Yeah, what makes a taco unhealthy? It's got you can put all the food groups in it.
So he's saying the homeless only deserve the food he doesn't want to put in his own body.
Wow.
I did say I think there are priorities. I think that if you're homeless, your priority is to be fed, to have an income, to have shelter.
But you wouldn't give them healthy food, just unhealthy food.
Right. So after you have a shelter, income, and everything else, then
you
it's
get
time
access to healthy food. Yeah,
exactly.
If you have a hard life, you don't deserve healthy food. I got it.
No, I think the priority
can we get
healthy food.
This will be like the one and only time I ever do this. Can we say L's in the chat for saying tacos are not unhealthy? Are unhealthy. L's in the chat for that.
Tacos are actually pretty good.
Yeah, they're super healthy. Also, Abby.
Yes.
This is the front of the microphone. You keep talking to the back of it.
Sorry.
All right, man. All right. Convince me of New Age spirituality.
Right. So, for example, I believe that I need to forgive people because I love myself. So I'll give an example. You do something being evil towards me. Instead of me believing in some Jesus that probably never existed in the first place, I know that me hating you will be actually harmful to me. So I look at myself.
It's pretty selfish.
So I look at myself and I say, because of I love myself, I forgive you, and I wish you well. And it's
Okay.
very easy because I
How
know
is
that if
how
I
is that?
don't
Hold on,
forgive,
just real quick. How's that not selfish?
how is that not selfish?
Hmm.
No, that's a reason for me to forgive other people.
Yeah,
So
you're saying the
it's
only
just,
reason you forgive other people is because the outcome that will fall upon you. So it's how's that not selfish?
it's not selfish or not selfish. It's just
But
an avenue
so hold on. What's the reason you're forgiving again?
handle hate
What's the reason you're forgiving again?
because I love myself.
But what does that even mean? I love
That
myself, so
means
therefore
that I
I
care.
forgive.
That means I care about myself. I want the best for myself. I want to preserve my integrity. I
Okay,
want to
so you
preserve
forgive people for your sake.
Correct.
So how's that not selfish?
It's just an action. It doesn't correlate me being selfish or anything else. It's
How,
just
but
how it is.
you're just saying it's not selfish. How is it not
I-
selfish if the only reason you're
Well, you're
doing it is
making
for
the
your
claim.
sake?
So since you're making the claim, you need to
I'm not
substantiate
making
your
a claim. You made the claim.
You just said no about me being selfish. That's your claim. I never claimed that was a selfish act.
Right. So the reason that it's selfish is because the only reason you're doing it is for yourself.
Right. So you perceive that to be selfish.
That's the definition of selfish.
No, that's not. So 1 second. So you eat every day because you're selfish. You go to
Yeah.
the gym and you train because you're selfish.
Yeah, that's selfish things to do.
Right. So you have a haircut because you're selfish.
Well, I'd actually say part of me having a haircut is selflessness, because if I only did it for myself, I probably wouldn't get a haircut. I get haircuts for other people's sake.
Like me.
Yeah. So for my
Right.
wife.
And you don't think the simple fact that I forgive people and therefore I don't retaliate, I don't lash out.
I'm
I
saying the
don't do
methodology and
harm.
why you forgive is selfish. I'm not saying the act of forgiving is selfish. I'm saying the reason that you're forgiving is selfish.
Right. And I think that if you forgive someone based on Jesus, I think he's wacky, which is exactly what
Well,
you're saying
that's
there.
a red herring. That's a red
Because
herring. You're
there's
saying
because there's no proof that Jesus even exists, but
that's
because of some imaginary
that's a red
proof that
herring. That's a red herring. So do you admit that it's selfish?
Right. So which one is more reasonable for you
So
to do
do
something
you admit
by
do you admit it's selfish?
Well, I admit that you believe that that's selfish. That's
Okay, then
not
how
I
is it
feel.
not selfish?
Because I'm doing something with in mind. The main cause of it, it's a benefit to myself, but it also benefits others as well. So it's just something good to do. It's
Would
not
you do it?
necessarily.
Would you do it if it had no let's say the act of forgiving somebody guaranteed the fact that you would be slowly tortured and unalived. Would you do it?
If the outcome of it would be for me to be unalived and tortured,
Yeah.
to forgive someone,
Yeah.
no, I wouldn't know.
Okay, so then the only reason you're forgiving is for selfish reasons.
Right. And if you come in here unalive, if the outcome would be the same, would you come unalive as well? Or you would not want to be tortured and unalive?
I
So
don't understand how that's relevant.
it's very relevant. So you coming here is selfish. We can play stupid all day
Yeah,
long.
I'm
and I
not
can
I'm
be
not
very
denying
selfish
that I
for you
do
to come
selfish
here.
things. That's not my claim.
Right. But I don't care about doing something that's selfish or not selfish.
You're saying New Age spirituality isn't whack is because I do good things for other people for my selfishness. That's your claim.
No, all I do it's for myself, but some of the things, yeah, for myself.
Yeah, you're saying
That's
literally
fine.
everything. You're saying New Age spirituality is being selfish. That's your claim,
Oh,
right?
no,
And I think that's pretty whack.
I actually disagree. I think that, like, for example, when I'm picking up my clothes and I'm going to a charity shop and I'm giving the clothes to help causes I believe in, I don't think that that's selfish at all. I don't do
Well,
it
okay,
because I
cool.
want to.
So
I want
why
to show people that
why are you giving clothes?
because I think that it can help people in need. So it's a way to contribute
Why are you wanting to
to
help people in need?
because it's an act of good, something that I believe fellow humans should attempt to do
Why is it
often.
good?
Because it helps the well-being of us as a society.
Right. So why do you want to help the well-being of others?
Because it's the right thing to do. It's
Right. So that's circular, right? You're saying it's good
it's
because it helps the
circular, yeah.
well-being. You're helping the
Because
well-being
it
of others.
because
And hold on,
because
hold
it
on,
makes
hold on,
everybody feel
hold
good.
on, hold on, hold on. You're saying it's good because it helps the well-being of others, and you say you want to help the well-being of others because it's good. That's circular.
Correct. Because it's good all around.
So
It
you
brings
agree it's
positive.
circular?
It's no, I think it's a positive act. It's about we can do negative things and we can do positive
Why
things.
is it
Yeah?
positive?
Mate, listen, if you don't want to be sincere and you just want to take the
I
absolutely
am being sincere.
no,
You're
I'm
giving
not
me.
wasting my time. You're a hypocrite, mate. You're just a complete prick. So yeah, whatever, man. Have a nice day.
All right, God bless,
I
man.
engaged with you. I engaged with you in good faith. I thought that you wanted to have a nice conversation. Clearly, you just want to take the piss, and that's the typical evangelical
There it is.
fundamentalist.
There it is. There it is. There it is.
Yeah,
Keep going. Go ahead. Go
fundamentalist.
ahead. Tell us how all Christians are
Fundamentalist.
evil because you're
No,
wrong. Go
you're
ahead.
fundamentalist.
No, I'm not.
Fundamentalist.
I'm not a fundamentalist.
How can I expect someone to have a normal, sincere behavior
I'm not
and
a Christian
normal conversation?
fundamentalist.
So how come you're not engaging with me in good faith?
I am engaging with you in good faith.
Right. So how many questions you've asked me? How many answers I've given you? Did you give me the opportunity to ask you questions? Did you answer any of my questions?
Well, before we move on to topic 2, we have to have a conclusion for topic 1. So if we came to a conclusion on topic 1, then we can move to the second question, right? Because
Okay.
if all you're doing is just jumping in with a question to not answer the actual questions I'm asking you, it's deflecting.
No, you should. So you just let's make a deal. I understand what your deal is now. There's a host here called Monkey Boy. Yeah, let's bet a taco $1,000.
I've
Yeah?
already talked to Monkey
I'll
Boy
pay you
twice.
$1,000
I've
if
already
you
talked
come
to
and speak
I've
to.
already talked to Monkey Boy twice.
Right. So do you have a recording of that? Because I'd like to see.
I didn't record it. He might have. Testing
Okay.
a text
So
with
how
Fresh
did it
Bueller.
go?
He's a runner. He's a track star. Came in with $2.
So how did it go? The chat
Uh,
with Monkey Boy, because both of you are philosophers, so I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, so
like,
the first conversation that we had was about the transcendental argument for God, which I openly admitted at the start that I wasn't too familiar with, and I wanted to see if there was problems with it. And he showed good, comprehensive problems with the transcendental argument from God, which I didn't fully track. He took that, he clipped that, as far as I know, and he posted that as I got Big John Steele, even though the consensus was I wasn't familiar with that argument. That was the first conversation. The second conversation was on the historical reliability of Jesus Christ, where I got him to admit that Jesus Christ actually resurrected, but instead of saying God did it, he said aliens did.
so you're saying that Monkey Boy agreed that Jesus has resurrected?
That's what he conceded that point. And that's not saying he actually believes it, but he conceded the point and then just said aliens did it.
Right. I need to chat with Monkey Boy and get his version of the accounts, because
Sure.
I don't. I've spoken to Monkey Boy extensively,
So,
and I don't.
but what
believe
you're
that.
saying is you don't have any arguments, and so you're just calling in Big Bro to back you up. Gotcha.
No, because it's not big bro. I just don't like to engage with philosophy. I don't think that that's a way to prove anything.
All right.
I know for a fact that philosophers in the last 50 years have beaten atheist philosophers have beaten all the philosophers arguing in favor of an existing God.
Oh, phenomenal.
lose
How do you
all the
know that
arguments
they beat them? How do you know they beat them? Go ahead.
because they concede defeat at the end of the arguments.
Who conceded
For the last
defeat?
50 years,
Which Christian
the-
philosopher conceded defeat against atheistic philosophy?
the arguments. Okay, so let's see the arguments. The arguments are well documented. Yeah.
If it's well documented, name one Christian philosopher that conceded that the atheist philosophical viewpoint was correct.
In philosophy, yeah.
Name one.
Yeah. Okay. 1 second.
Prophet Google, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
Eric Barlow came in with $5, says most people have incompatible philosophies and don't like it when they are confronted with reasoning. So you're going to tell me somebody like Richard Swinburne has conceded the atheistic point of view, that William Lane Craig has conceded these points. Is this what you're going to say?
Yeah, well, there's Thomas Aquinas. There's
Thomas Aquinas never conceded the atheistic worldview, ever. That did not
yeah.
happen.
So what happened then?
He never
he
conceded
said-
the.
he said, "Why
Thomas
here?
Aquinas
Why here?"
literally died believing that God Himself spoke to him through the cross. He never conceded the atheistic world. There's not even a debate, as far as I know, that Thomas Aquinas had with atheists. He
Mate,
would address
funny-
points in his Summa, and then he would steel man their points and then address those points.
The funny part is we diverted so far. I mean, the conversation was about spirituality.
I didn't
being
divert.
wacky.
You diverted. You're
And
literally
I-
one that says
all
that
I
all
wanted-
of Christianity.
and then you just
Hold
always
on. Listen here, Monkey Boy Jr. The only thing that you've just said is that all Christians have been disproven by atheistic arguments, and you know that for a fact. So therefore, you don't have to take anything we say as credible. Yet you can't provide a single evidence that actually is true. Jimmy Space came in 279 says tacos are healthy. Prove me wrong. Win a Christian. That's pretty funny. Sean Bessity came in $2 says, I bet this guy's fedora wears a fedora.
Okay, so I know for a fact that anything that's processed, flour,
Can we move on?
all the stuff is bad for you, and that's proved. So whatever else, tacos aren't healthy. If you don't get it, then that's fine. Listen, I get tested monthly, mate. Yeah,
Have you ever been tested mentally,
I compete with a guy,
or just physically?
I compete with a guy called Brian Johnson in health. Yeah, so I get my biomarkers monthly, and I check everything. So I think
Are they worse when you eat tacos?
health, I can actually beat you in health subjects. I wouldn't even engage with you because clearly I know for a fact that you have zero idea. Now about
But what kind of tacos are you getting where the meat's processed? It's like I make tacos and I cook the meat
so what about the sauce?
cut the veggies.
The sauce,
Don't put
is
sauce
the
on
sauce healthy?
Don't
Does
put
it have
sauce on
added
it.
sugar? Does it
Don't
have
put sauce
added
on
sugar?
it. Don't put sauce
I
on
don't
it.
actually put sauce on my tacos.
And what about the wrap?
What about it? You think bread's bad for you?
The flour, yeah, definitely bad for you. Yeah.
Why is flour
you need
bad
carbs for energy.
Right. So there are good types of carbs like fruits.
for you? No.
Yeah.
Why is flour bad for you?
You need to look it up.
Thought no, you said you could best us on any health information.
I'm not here. Look, I'm not here to educate you. I'm not.
But you said you could.
I can.
Then do it.
Alza came in with all 9 tacos and our Christian proved me healthy when wrong. All right, so yeah, do it. My wife's calling. My wife's in it, and she's gonna debate. I want to hear this, so do it.
Well, their flour is unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to prove it though.
Well, there are
You're
studies
gonna tell
already.
me wheat is bad for you?
Not necessarily.
How about a
bad, but
corn tortilla?
It can be corn. Definitely, yeah. It's not the
Most tacos are made from corn tortillas.
right.
So what's unhealthy about a taco?
Okay, so you think corn is very healthy, yeah?
You just said it was. You did it.
No, I didn't.
You
say
said corn is
very healthy.
fine.
I said either corn or flour. And corn, it's something that.
What's wrong with corn?
Oh my god.
You said you'd best us in this. So far, the only thing you've best yourself in is taking L's.
Yeah. So there's the one reason it's because corn's got a lot of sugar.
Okay, okay, hold on. It's got a lot of sugar. What happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
It makes sugar itself.
What
So
happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
it will use ketones instead of glycol.
And it'll make sugar. What happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
I just said it twice.
It will make sugar. So you still have sugar. So
No,
what happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
It will get it will turn fat into sugar. That's what it does.
Yes, so then your body still has sugar. So what happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
I answered it 3 times.
You will make
So
sugar, so you still have sugar. So if your body doesn't have sugar, what happens? There's literally a disease that people have when they don't have sugar in their body. What is it?
that's right.
Or
But
too much sugar.
there's one thing that there are certain sugars that you consume. They have fiber, and the sugar, the amount of sugar, the way your body processes it is in a
So
certain
what
way.
happens if your body doesn't have sugar?
Also, corn is digested slowly and does not cause an unhealthy spike in your blood sugar. So it sounds like those other foods you're about to talk about. The high
Oh, right.
sugar
So
corn
it
myth.
doesn't have. Yeah, it doesn't have like cellulose, which cause digestion issues. There are a number of things. It's got issues for the cardiovascular. There are many concerns with corn. Corn is definitely not a
Why
healthy
won't you
food
answer
at
my
all.
question? What happens when your body doesn't have sugar?
You just say no.
Do you eat bananas?
He left. He ran. Somebody said, "What is the point of this topic?" Bro came up here and started beefing for no reason. Told me that I needed to take on Monkey Boy, and then started saying, "Well, if we did this topic I knew about, I'd school you." So we did the topic he knew about, and he didn't school us. So if you want to argue in bad faith, you either get booted or schooled. One of
I
the
just like how he was like, I confess to you about health topics because I see this guy and I get my biomarkers checked. And I'm like, well, then why is flour unhealthy? And he's like, Google it.
And here's the thing: I don't eat healthy a lot of the time. Like I have a good balance between healthy and unhealthy. I have my biomarkers checked, and it was like on spot. The only thing that was low was my iron. I had low iron. That was it. All right,
We do both work at a gym.
Let's bring up the next one.
And it's just like tacos are actually a very balanced meal.
We literally had fajitas for dinner last. Or no, what was it?
Taquitos.
Taquitos. I'm also like against perverting food. I hate that. Don't eat chocolate bars, they're bad for you. No, you can eat a chocolate bar. Anything in excess is going to be too much and bad for you. Chocolate's fine for you. Soda's fine for you. Most foods are fine for you. They're not going to hurt you. Aloho, Aloh. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Yes, how old are you? All right, bro, let me bring you in. All right, New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Yes. So me personally, I do don't know if it counts as New Age, but I do meditation, right?
Mhm.
And it feels like, well, I know it gives benefits, like for example, peace of mind for me.
Mhm.
So it's more personal, but I see benefits in my life, so I don't see how it can be whack, for example.
Well, I think New Age can be, I think meditation can be New Age, but so, how would I say this? Yeah, so I'd say it can. I was trying to think of a clever way to say it, but I can't do it. Brady came in with $1.09. Big John still has low iron. I did have low iron. I don't know if I still do. I haven't had a check since. Yeah, so meditation can be New Age, but it's not necessarily always New Age because there's meditational practices that are in Christianity.
Oh, okay. But would you count this as something that can be wrong or anything, or?
Well, it depends on like if the meditation you're doing is just body focused, where you're just calming the mind and focusing on specific aspects of your breathing and your body. No, I wouldn't classify it as meditation. But if you're meditating on the aspect of focusing on the spiritual realm and connecting with those other beings, then I'd say yes, this is a form of like New Age.
I wouldn't say with obviously with other beings, but me personally, I don't think there's the, like, I would assume you have like the Christian God you believe in. For me personally, I wouldn't say he exists. So
That has literally nothing to do with what we were just talking about.
yes, but like I said, for in a spiritual form, my meditation, of course, it's more related to the spiritual realm, like you said.
Okay, then yeah, that's New Age and that's whack.
Okay, yeah. So I just want to know like what's wrong with it.
There's no inductive or deductive reasoning that they're actually connecting to something that's spiritual.
But like I said, if I say it has benefits in my life, like would you dismiss that or?
Yeah, of course I would. Because you can find benefits to all sorts of things in life. That doesn't mean that the totality of it is true. So, for example, you can have benefits towards meditation, but that does not mean the totality of what you're doing is true. Just like I said, there like Christianity has meditation. So we think there are benefits towards it, and you can obviously have the benefits in the practice, but that does not mean the totality of what you're believing is actually true. So I'd say the practice of meditating that you're doing, perfectly fine, but the focusing on this other spiritual realm or whatever it is, trash.
Oh, okay, I see, but I just feel like we can't really prove it if it's whack for, for my personal beliefs.
Well, if your only argument is I believe it, then yeah, I think we can prove it's whack, because that's not a reason anybody should ever believe anything, is because somebody says I believe it.
Okay, I see. And for example, let me ask you a question. What would it take for you to say it's okay? It might not be whack. I can see some truth in this.
I need some sort of inductive or deductive argument or some evidential claims that back it up.
Oh, what do you mean by evidential claims, for example?
So some sort of evidence that shows that you're actually connecting to some sort of spiritual realm, and this spiritual realm isn't like, Satan.
Okay, I see. Well, I just find it hard to say, well, I need evidence for something that's personal and more spiritual that relates to personal experience.
Spirituality and personal, something being personal, are not synonymous.
No, but I mean, it's as a personal experience. So I built, well, I wouldn't like to assume, but I believe you had personal experiences, right, regarding Christianity.
Yeah, but if I use my personal experiences as an argument for Christianity being true, I would get laughed off the internet.
Yes, I know. I agree. It's not really rigorous to say this, but you wouldn't be too happy, right, if someone dismisses your personal experiences, right?
People do it all the time. That's why I don't use it.
It's actually kind of understandable.
It's like the norm, right? If I came up to people and I said to them, Jesus is real because Jesus revealed himself to me, and then they're like, like laughed it off and walked away. Like, why would I expect them to react differently?
Okay, so you're saying it's not like a sufficient reason to say something is true?
It's not a sufficient argument.
Okay, and what exactly would be a sufficient argument, let's say?
Something that's inductive or deductive.
So should I have like a scripture that testifies to my experiences or something like? I'm just confused, I guess.
Well, it depends on the whole overall arching properties of a scripture. Just something just being written down doesn't also mean it's true.
But if someone has like a new age spirituality, how is he able to prove it?
But here's the thing. You're asking me to come up with your argument for you. Right? You're saying I need to come up with your argument.
Yeah, no. But the thing is, you said it's whack, so I'm asking, okay, if you think it's whack, what's the alternative that can make you think, oh, okay, it might be true?
That's your job. As you coming up being the person who is new age spiritual, is to present an argument for me to no longer be convinced it's whack. If I was already knew of an argument that made me think it was not whack, I wouldn't think it's whack.
Okay, well, the argument I've given, like for let's say for personal experience, and it has benefits in my life, let's say, is this something like that has to be dismissed, or?
Okay, well, do you think Islam is true?
I think Islam is true. It can have some benefits.
No. Do you think the totality of Islam is true?
The totality, I don't think so.
Okay, well, people who are Muslim make this argument all the time, that they see positive aspects of their life, so therefore Islam is not whack. But in the Islamic belief system, they say you can marry children. So is Islam whack or no?
Oh, Islam says they can marry children?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I don't know about that, but no, but I don't believe all the totality of Islam is true, though. So
you'd say it's whack?
No, not necessarily whack. I think whack is more of a negative term, right? So it's more discriminatory.
Okay, do you think false things are not whack?
Well, depends. What do you mean by whack exactly?
They suck, right? Shouldn't be. You shouldn't believe false things.
They suck. Okay. Oh, see, that's the thing. That would be more nuanced for that. Like, I wouldn't say something. Well, you base your whole life off of it, and I just say Well, it sucks.
I
Your
feel like
thinking
I feel like
sucks.
I'm talking to ChatGPT that's just super affirming of everything right now.
No, it's just it's not that I have my personal beliefs. So of course, if I have some beliefs, I have to discard other beliefs, right? So it's just logical. But I would
Do
say
you think Islam is whack?
no. I just think it isn't true in totality. I wouldn't say it's whack.
Okay, so then you're saying false things are not whack.
But if you say, let's say you define whack as something that I do not believe in totality, okay, yeah, it's whack. In
No,
that
but are you
definition.
saying that false things can okay, if I told you something that's not true, is that whack?
If you want to lie to me, yeah.
Okay, so lies are whack. So if Islam is full of lies and things that are not true, that's whack, right?
Well, that's the thing. I can't really say if Islam wants to spread lies, right?
No, I'm saying
I
if
don't
it's
know how it
filled with
works.
a whole bunch of things that are not true, is that whack?
No, it's just something that's not true, and we can discard it. That's it.
Okay, so then are true things, are false things whack or not?
Well, in your sense, yeah, in your definition, yeah, no
I'm
problem.
asking you, are false things whack?
Yeah, but I answer. I think it's a discriminatory term, so I don't like to
I
use
don't
it.
care if you think it's discriminatory. Are false things whack?
Generally, yeah, let's say that.
Okay, so if Islam is full of false things, then it's whack.
Yeah,
Wappa Chop came in with
logic,
$2, says Islam is worse than whack. It's destructive. Thank you, Wappa Chop. I love that name. Wappa Chop.
Yeah, but that I can't really speak on it if it's destructive or not. But
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying, hey, if Islam is filled with a whole bunch of false things, it's whack, right?
yeah, generally we can say that.
Okay. So if your New Age spirituality is false, then it's whack.
If we follow the logic, yeah.
Okay. I have no reason to believe it's true. So it's whack. As a matter of fact, I have reasons to believe it's false.
Yeah, but can I have those reasons? That's what I'm asking.
There's zero inductive or deductive arguments or evidential claims that back it up.
Okay, and what would be a deductive or inductive claim that would back it up?
Something that follows formal logic and leads to a conclusion.
Okay, I see the theory, but can you give me like a situation, a concrete situation?
So an inductive argument would be all crows are black. Premise 1. Premise 2. I saw a crow on the road. Conclusion: that crow is black. That would be inductive, right? Now it's possible there are different colored crows out there, but because of all we know evidentially about crows is they're black, you can say that's an inductive argument. A deductive argument is something that has to be like logically sound. So, for example, a square has 4 corners, 4 sides. A circle has no corners, 1 side. I think you say circle has 1 side. These two things are contradictory. Therefore, you cannot have a square round circle. That'd be like a deductive argument. That was a terrible way to use a syllogism, but you get the idea.
Okay, no, I get it. I get it. Like for the contradictory stuff, but that's what I'm wondering. I guess I'm kind of confused. What's contradictory about the New Age spirituality?
There's no evidence or inductive or deductive reasons to believe it.
But that's not a contradiction, because
I'm
contradiction
not
has two
saying
claims.
it has to have a contradiction. Oh my god! Okay, I gotta. All right, hold on. You're being nice. You're just infuriating. I'm not saying it has to have a contradiction. I'm saying there is no arguments for it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no evidence for it. There's no reason to believe it's true. So therefore, I don't think it's true.
Okay, well, yes, I can't really argue with that because like I said, I'm more of a, like I mentioned, the personal experiences like that give me benefits in my life that we can
But
see all
we
around the
all
world.
agree. We all agree
Yeah.
that there are benefits to meditating. It's the other stuff.
But the thing I find hard is that I can't really prove the other stuff that's more spiritual. Like I said, same thing for Muslims or Buddhists or Hinduism or Christianity. You can't really prove the spiritual
I can
side of things.
prove Christianity. Yes.
On the spiritual side of things?
I can make a logical inference that says that if Christianity is true, you would expect to see a religious or a spiritual relationship between you and the God of the universe.
Okay, but how can you prove that?
Because if I can prove that it's more likely that Jesus Christ died and resurrected than it's not, then what we would expect to see is people having a relationship with the God of the universe.
Okay, I see. And just about that, and how can you explain the so-called ex-Christians that just didn't find the relationship? Or
That
it's
had
just
nothing to do with what I said. So I appreciate your time. I'm going to jump on. God bless.
oh, okay.
That literally had zero. I've been forgetting to ask the atheists why they don't believe in God for that video. I got to remind me to do that on Friday, Abby.
I'm arguing with a Muslim.
Are they yelling at you because you're close?
No, they're saying that children can be married.
Ugh. You imagine raising your wife?
Can I just kick them?
No. Our philosophy on freedom of speech. Let's bring in another person. Steve. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Hello? Yeah, we got a lot of noise going on, bro. I think I'm gonna have to jump on. Sorry. I just lie blatantly. Okay, fair enough. Can you give me an example of where I lied? Sean, hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? All right, bro, just give me 2 seconds and I will bring you in. All right, man, New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong, win a taco.
Hi, man. Can I just ask? I just want to clarify what you actually mean by New Age. I'm not entirely sure on the terminology.
Sure. So what I mean is like tarot cards, witchcraft, crystals, manifestation, saying that the God is using universe as a synonym for God and saying we are all part of God would be like an aspect of what's considered like New Age.
I follow you. Okay. All right. So I'm not exactly a follower, to be honest with you. I was just so I can't really fight for that. So yeah. I'm sorry, I can't really have a good input in this at the
That's okay.
moment.
That's okay, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty, but thanks for coming up.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for I enjoy the chat, man. Keep it up. It's good. Thanks.
All right. God bless.
Take it easy.
Nice guy. I'm getting a lot of foreigners coming in. They're all super nice. It's almost like Americans are really rude. I'm just saying. I know most of my I just went at my whole following base. I just called all y'all out. I'm just gonna go on my Patreon later. It's gonna be 0. You called us rude. I'm gonna look at my subscribers. It's gonna be 0. It's all just gonna drop. It's all just gonna drop. My one. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you? Michelle. Michelle M. Okay, I'm going to jump on. Thank you for coming up. Hello, how are you? And just real quick, how old are you?
Hi, I'm 26.
All right. New Age spirituality is pretty whack. Prove me wrong. Win a taco.
Sure. So I heard you describe to previous guests. Do you think New Age spirituality is like tarot cards, crystals? What else would you put in that
Tarot
category?
cards, crystals, manifestation, saying universe instead of God, saying that we're all God. That'd be like in that area. Witchcraft, you know.
Okay. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot to say about this. I guess I would probably be a New Age spiritualist. I don't know. I wouldn't call myself that, but I have in the past been like, oh, I'm a spiritual person. I don't really prescribe to religion. That being said, so you think it is, so I have a question. What exactly was Jesus trying to tell us? Because in my idea, it felt like Jesus, he is God, right?
Yeah.
And he is God, and that's it, period. But Jesus was also trying to spread a message to the people saying that we are also capable of of a similar enlightenment.
No.
Okay. What was his message?
That he is king and that you should submit and worship him.
Okay.
Yeah, you're talking about Christ consciousness, which is like
a separate thing.
It's nonsense. It's just nonsensical. That's like saying we are
So-
all Christ and we're all going to achieve Christ's standard. And yeah, Jesus literally said
Well-
you can't. You can't do it. That's why he was sent.
I don't necessarily believe. Oh, I don't necessarily believe that. I was just confused on what exactly Jesus was saying. So Jesus was saying that he is king. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's why the Romans didn't appreciate that, because he was claiming kinghood.
Well, the Romans didn't really care. That's what the Pharisees and Sadducees wanted to convince the Romans of, so that they could have him put to death. Because they had no power to put people to death, they needed the Romans to do it. And so to convince the Romans of that, they were trying to convince him that he was king. And this is what he did when he was in front of Pilate. He's like, they say that you're the king of the Jews. And Jesus, I think he only responds with, you have said it. And Pilate tries to wash his hands of it and say, hey, I want nothing to do with this. But they demanded that he be executed. So.
Okay. So then, separate point. So essentially, you don't think that everything is connected, or you don't think that. So do you view God as a separate entity, or do you view God as being in all things?
God is existence in itself. He's what sustains all. When God reflects upon us, he reflects inwardly, not outwardly, because there is no outward of God. We are sustained by him. But that does not necessarily make us a part of God. We are just sustained by God.
Okay, so we're sustained by God, but we're separate from God.
Mm-hmm.
Are we? So do you view death as a transition to reunite with God, or or are we still separate from God in death?
No, in death, we'd still carry our same ontological properties. We still be divided, but we'd be closer if we were actually in relationship with God. So the goal is to get as close to God as possible, but you'll never take on his properties. You'll never be ontologically identical.
Okay. So, okay, different point. Because again, I have a bunch of scattered thoughts about this, and I just want to gather what you think, I guess. So, when it comes to crystals, for instance, just to be specific about a specific thing, so you do not think that crystals hold any type of energy.
If it did, it's not from God, and it would be something that is, I think, evil. But I
So
don't
that's a
think so.
separate. So then this actually brings up a whole other point.
But,
So,
but hold on, I don't think they do have any energy.
okay, you don't think they have energy?
No.
Okay. So then another question is so there's God and there's Satan, right? You think that everything that isn't God is satanic, question mark, or demonic potentially?
Yeah, Satan just means enemy, right? So if it's not of God, then you are against God and you're working against him. It's not following actual aspect of like this person that is Satan. But yeah, if you're not doing it for the glory of God, then who are you doing it for the glory for? And if it's not for God, it's idolatry.
I see that argument. So then you think that crystals and astrology and all new age spirituality is satanic or is not of God?
It's not of God.
So then,
but like,
so then here's another question. This is a larger spiritual question that I've had. Have you ever considered that all of these different approaches to spirituality, including Christianity, including New Age spirituality, including Islam, including whatever else, have you ever considered that there could be an element of truth in all of them, but maybe none of them are correct? Or on the other hand, maybe all of them are correct in their own sense?
they all can't be correct. That would break the law of non-contradiction.
Is the law of... So I think you said this with a previous guest about falsehood or about like accepting falseness. So again, like I reiterate that maybe not all of everything is true, not all of every belief is true, but the fundamental drive of humans to believe in something, to have a spirituality, the fact that billions and billions of people throughout time have always sought that, regardless of the form that spirituality takes, do you think that your belief is the right one and all of the other beliefs that have ever existed are satanic?
Yes.
I appreciate your conviction in that answer, honestly. But why do you believe that?
Because they're not of God.
So how does one so you were talking about your personal experiences earlier, and I'm only asking because I've also had some personal experiences.
Yeah, so can I pause you real quick? No,
Yeah.
people kept bringing up my personal experiences, trying to get me to go into it, but I do not use my personal experiences as an argument.
Okay. So I'm not really asking you to use them as an argument, but this is just sort of a question. Like you said, or actually it's a question. How does Jesus reveal himself to someone? What does that look like?
Yeah, so that you're just stating that there has to be one method. There's going to be different methods on which Jesus reveals himself to different people. So, for example, he literally stood in front of Thomas when Thomas doubted, and then with Paul, he took away his sight and gave him a vision. It's going to be different ways that God reveals himself. Some people it's just going to be through logical arguments. Some people it's going to be evidence, right? You have that one guy who wrote that book that what's the movie book guy that was a news reporter, Abby?
Lee Strobel.
Lee Strobel. So Lee Strobel came to the knowledge of Christ through the evidence that he looked at. He's like, this is good evidence, and I'm convinced.
So then to that point, if Jesus reveals himself differently for different people, then that goes back to my question of how do you not know that people's interpretation of spirituality, regardless of what it is Jesus revealing himself? Like you call it Jesus revealing himself.
Because two contradictory
that's
things
your-
can't be true.
What is contradictory exactly?
So, for example, Islam and Christianity can't be true because Islam says that Jesus Christ never was crucified. Christianity says that's the whole basis of our religion is that he was crucified. Islam says they got the revelation from the angel Gabriel. So if Jesus is giving that information to Islam and then also giving it that information to Christianity, these are two contradictory things. So the only conclusion is either one of us is lying, both of us are lying, one of us is right, or God is lying.
Okay. So sorry, hold on. Let me gather my thoughts for 1 second. So two contradicting things cannot be true at the same time.
Yeah.
Ever. Sorry, I'm just confused because I'm very I was raised not religious, right? My parents both claim to be Christians. My family all claim to be. Oh, this is what I was trying to say. So it's a personal relationship, right? Like your relationship with Jesus and your relationship with God should be personal relationships, correct?
No.
No.
So I think there's a personal relationship that you have with God, but I hate the it's not a religion, it's a relationship motif. I don't like that.
I mean, I agree with the idea of like ritual and religion. Like, I do think it's important for people to gather together and share in an experience. It makes it that much more powerful, right? So I agree with that. But at the same time, you reject the idea that someone should have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ.
No, I said I do believe there is a personal relationship, but I reject the motif of it's not religion, it's relationship, right? There's a religion aspect to it. Like Jesus isn't my homie, Jesus is my king. Right. And he has a certain standard that he asked me to accomplish and to reach. And I must be an obedient slave to Christ to fulfill my duties as a Christian.
See, that language is so difficult for me to wrap my head around. I understand where you're coming from, but that, I don't know, like that the idea of submission, maybe it's pride, like maybe it's just human nature, but it's very difficult for me to wrap my head around submitting myself to something so fully that I can't say with certainty is there. Like I'm very spiritual. I'm tapped into just different things, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to channel it. Because if I devote my life to Christianity, right, and live in accordance to the Bible, in accordance to God, that you don't exist in a vacuum, right? So it's like if I was by myself and I could just do whatever I wanted without judgment from other people, then I would do whatever I wanted. But it's the idea that it has to fit within the context of everything else. So like as I'm like, obviously you're a Christian, so like I can talk to you about these types of things and you have very great responses. I really appreciate it. But I can't just have these conversations with anybody without people sort of looking at me like I'm a little backwards, you know what I mean? But it's real. So all of that to say that I believe, so this is how I've thought about it too. Kind of like art, right? I think art and religion or spirituality are very similar to me. And tell me if you think that this is completely misguided.
It's completely
Whereas-
misguided.
Okay. How
Art is
so?
art is subjective. We're talking about something that's objective.
Oh, art is subjective, yes, but art is real.
Yeah,
Do you
but
not
still-
think spirituality
it's still subjective. So all negotiation with art is a subjective thing. I'm saying objectively, it's true that Jesus is the King of the universe. It's not. It has nothing to do with my subjective interpretation.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that art exists objectively. Like art is an experience that humans participate in.
Okay. If art exists objectively, that's a hard sentence to say. Then can art exist without a mind to interpret it?
Well, the same question applies to God, I guess, or Jesus. Like,
Yes, God would
God
exist without a mind to interpret it.
without a mind to interpret it?
Yes, he would.
Well, then you could say that art can exist with, like, I view art.
Okay, so
like,
then
again,
what makes
it's a
it
little
art?
backwards.
Hold on. What makes it art if there's no one to interpret it? Just real quick before you go, testing the text with Fresh Wheeler came in with $5. Says, ask the guest what the real contention is with Christ and Christianity. You don't have to answer that. I prefer if you actually. It is a good point,
Well-
but yeah, what makes art if there's no one there to interpret it?
It's like that same thing about if a tree falls in a forest, right? I mean, I think
No,
I think a,
That's not the same
I think
thing.
I think a spiral galaxy. So you could argue that art is a human construct. Art is a human construct, and without humans, art wouldn't exist. You could say the same. You really could. I know that you don't believe this, but you could say the same thing about religion. Religion
That's begging.
wouldn't
That's
exist.
begging the question, right? That's saying that God is something man-made, as a man-made concept. That's begging the question at the end of the day. I'm saying God exists. Doesn't matter what my stance is, right? I'm saying art
and
doesn't
see-
exist unless there's somebody who has a
and
stance
so-
on it.
And okay, so this is maybe just where I have a different perspective because I'm a composer, right? And I'm an artist myself. And I've always viewed art. There is one level of it where it comes from within and it's a human generated thing.
Well,
And
hold
when
on.
say-
I feel like you're kind of going on a tangent, not addressing my question. What makes
Oh, sorry.
art without a stance to interpret it?
It just is. Just like God. It is that it is. Art is a galaxy would be
So
just
that's
as
not
beautiful
that's
if
not
there
what
was
I'm
no
asking.
server
I'm
around.
asking what is it without a stance to interpret it?
I guess you could say that it's just a collection of stimuli. Like it's just something. Like it's just a collection of stuff, and it's our human brains. that find the
My
patterns.
cat. Let's say my cat took a turd, then ceased to exist, right? And there's just the turd left. Would that be art?
Your cat took a shit and then disappeared.
Yeah. So there's no mind to interpret it now, right? There's just the cat turd. That's all that's left, right? Is the cat turd art?
I don't know. I think that's subjective. That is a subjective question. My
Okay, so
answer
then
would be
what
different
makes
from
art art? Without if it's objectively true, what makes art art?
Well,
Building
then I guess
fins
you're
up.
right. I guess it's human. Art is a human experience. Art wouldn't be art
Okay,
without humans.
right. So that's the difference. Is that we don't need a stance for God's ontological existence to be true. Where art, you need a
I guess
stance.
my question is
Just real quick. Building fins came up with $1.09. What is meant by New Age spirituality? You're a little late for that one. But yeah.
But so I guess then this is just a totally different question. If God would exist with or without humans to observe him.
God is objectively real. Doesn't matter.
God is
the
objectively
stance.
real.
Yes.
So why, I guess sorry, this is a totally different question, but then why did God create people? Why does he need
for the
us?
sake? He doesn't need anything. He did it for the sake of the people.
He created us for ourselves
Mm-hmm.
so that we could live this life
Mm-hmm.
and experience this and experience Him.
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting perspective, that we were created for ourselves. Okay, I can get behind that. But even so, I don't know.
Just
I
real
know
quick,
that that's just,
Wappa Chop came in with $5. Says, was there no artistry when the creator designed the universe? Seems pretty artistic to me.
oh right.
Yeah.
Wouldn't art be a God thing? Like, because God would know what art is.
God
So
has
if God is always around,
God is a mind.
God is a mind,
God has mind.
and as a mind, He should know art. He created the universe artistically. Like, this is an artistic universe that we live in. There's clearly an intelligent mind that designed this
But
with
art
patterns.
is still stance dependent.
True. But then you're taking a stance on something that doesn't change the fact that the thing is what it is. Your stance doesn't change.
Okay, if there's no one to take a stance on it, how do you determine whether or not it's art?
Well, I choose to believe that the creator of the universe intended for us to find art within it. I think art is
Sure.
I think
I can agree with that. But again, how do you determine what is art without somebody making a negotiation or giving a stance on it?
I think you're right in that it's a subjective experience. If
Right.
I can view a cat turd as artistic, and that doesn't mean that anyone else has to.
Right. All right, man. With that being said, I do got to go. It's past my shut off time, but I appreciate your time. Appreciate you
Thank
coming
you
up.
for talking to me. I
No
appreciate
problem.
it.
All right, God bless.
All right. You too.
Such nice people today.
Mostly, yeah, for sure. All right, guys. No more guests. We'll do a quick prayer. Then we're going to hang out on YouTube for about 5-10 more minutes, and then we'll take off. So if you guys have any more questions, want to ask anything in the chat, head over to YouTube. Links in my bio or at Big John Steele on YouTube. Our Father is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our debts as we also forgive our debtors. Lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. Lord, forgive me for the fact that I forget names, but that young man that was seeking you out, that's something I really want you to focus on, Lord. Not that I'm in a place to tell you what to do, but this is my desire, and you are good, and you sometimes give us what we will. So, Lord, I ask that you bring him into the kingdom, and you do so in a grandiose way, something that's just like really cool. I just want to see something really cool. Lord, I ask that you also bless everybody else that's come into the chat, anybody who's seeking you or looking to find you, that you draw them into you, into your kingdom, and into the knowledge of truth. If we're wrong in what we do, correct us, put us back on the right path. But if those come against us are wrong, correct them. Forgive us of our sins, be patient with us, and give us grace. And give all those Christians in the chat who are just armchairs Christians opportunities to use their talents to help build the kingdom. Those talents can be anything, Lord, and help them recognize what they're good at and what can be used for you and for your glory. I ask this in Jesus' name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah. All right, guys, you know what to do. If you want to support me, you could support through Super Chats. You can do it through Patreon, PayPal. All links are in the bio. It's why we can do these videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday, also Tuesdays and Thursdays sometimes with the Hangout. Like I said, we're going to be revamping the Patreon and offering more things on there this weekend. For everybody that's already currently on Patreon supporting, you'll be grandfathered in, so don't worry, you're not going to lose what you got. You're actually probably going to get some more out of it depending on what you're doing on there. Most of my content is on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed on there. I don't know where you're watching, but that is where most of the content is going to be. So that being said, everybody on TikTok, I love you. We will see you all on Friday, and yeah, God bless. And now for the YouTube Hangout session. The YouTube Hangouts, interesting live. Thoughts on the New Age stuff, guys? What are we thinking? How are we feeling? Yes, no? Or you want me to go back to the pro-life, pro-choice arguments? I feel like we were able to give the gospel more today. I think that happened. We have more opportunities to share the gospel. And I think that's maybe not as entertaining, but definitely fruitful. Give your cat a Patreon for art commissions. I wonder, we should do that. We should do Abby, daily Bert pictures in the Patreon. So every day you get a picture of Bert.
We could do that.
I prefer these New Agers, or these guys were great. I've done New Age where it's been really bad though. So we'll see. This is good, but I do think abortion is important, but heavy. Yeah. Maybe we can do it instead of every Wednesday. We'll do it every other Wednesday. just defend Christianity. That's the only thing I should do. The problem is I get bored and I need to stimulate myself sometimes. If that's the only thing I'm doing is just saying Christianity is true and defending it, I think it get repetitive. I think there's good reasons to do other topics sometimes. Do something on miracles. I'm not studied enough on miracles. Stop writing on one nanoscientist and actually look at the data and studies. What nanoscientist am I writing on? And what the hell are you even talking about? People just make things up about me and just go off like it's true. And then get mad at me. People get mad at me for what they've invented in their own head. I'm mad at this idea of you that I made up myself. Can Allah's promise be corrupted? Yes. Dang, you follow a God that allows his text to be corrupted. You follow a God that allows a grown man to sleep with a child. Like if that's the kind of argument, you follow a God that allows your text to be corrupted. You follow a God that allows a grown man to sleep with children. Like, I'll take the corrupted text. Thank you very much. Dude, the data is biased. Why? Because they have a lot of money on the line. They've been working on the abiogenesis over 100 years. So of course they'll push studies that say it's true. Prove me wrong. Christianity is not true and go to the Islamic next topic. LOL. Islamic apologetics is like pulling teeth out of your head. It's literally like committing dentistry on yourself. They say that, but then they say that it's the same God, so their God let it be corrupted. Allah's word is contingent, guys. We heard it here first. Trinity debate next up. No, I'm not deep into like the philosophy of like. I'm not a theologian. I don't study theology that much. I look more into the history of stuff. So me getting into a topic debating the Trinity is more like Nick's wheelhouse. Nick is going to be better at that than I am. Right? Historical stuff is a little bit more my flavor, my field, I guess. Pulling teeth is probably more productive. Yes, it brings in a new species of fish, and you're making the next big what? You might be talking to somebody else. Why God kill children? 1 Samuel 15:3. He didn't. He commanded other people to do it. At least get it right, right? Is it because you're Catholic and he's Orthodox? I'm Cathodox. What's up, Mitchell? You made it back for the end. Is the universe infinite? It's possible. Yeah, it's possible it could be infinite. Mythicism debate soon. Christ before Jesus is leading so many astray. We might, yeah, I might do that. We could probably do that for sure. The stream's been good, bro. The stream's been good. What a stupid answer. Probably. Was it me who said it? If so, then yes. Just because James Tour is one out of countless say no, it wasn't random. Don't entertain the Islamists. People maybe do one on why the flood was justified. This is too specific. John Orthodox confirmed. I'm a white Hebrew Israelite. New topic idea, Taco Tuesday health talk. You got spicy on that.
It's just so stupid.
If I debated you on health topics, I would school you. All right.
And then had no data.
None.
And just Google it.
I'm so proud she just said data.
I've been around you too long.
I love you. Yeah, he's my favorite. He's my favorite. Papa Chop is such a good name. If God is real, why am I ugly? Well, God wanted to bless me, and he only had so much attractiveness to give out. And so he gave me a little too much and wasn't enough left over for you. Because attractiveness is a finite thing. You cannot create or destroy attractiveness. There's only so much to go around.
You gave the rest to Bert.
The rest went to Bert, yeah. All right, guys. I love you all. We'll see you on Friday. God bless. Have yourself a great day.